So in today's video we are gonna see what if Deku returned with Harem of Princesses. This story is My Hero Princess Harem by the respected author Madhat 886. Make sure to show some love to their work. Before starting, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are interested in MHA fanfictions. Now without wasting any more time, let's dive in. Here's a short summary. After going to different worlds thanks to a dropped portal gun, Izuku ends up back home. But the girls he met on the way home aren't going to let him go that easy. And now Izuku has to deal with 13 princesses and their ladies in waiting, who all have the hots for him. Now let's get to the story. Izuku Midoriya sat alone as he ate his lunch. He's no longer the boy he was before he found that portal gun that sent him on an incredible adventure, traveling from one dimension to another trying to find his way home. He met many people on the way and picked up things and skills as he did so, till he finally just ran out of that green juice that powered the portal gun. His friend Zelda finally managed to get him home by using the Triforce of Power that can grant the one who uses it any wish. She sent him back and found himself back just after he had used the portal gun the very first time. Back home like it never happened, the 2 or so years he was gone, thanks to the wish Zelda made to send him back. Now he's going to show his world that someone quirkless can be a hero. He has the skills and experience that he got the hard way. He also still has the equipment and weapons he had picked up along the way. He can be the Batman of his universe and show everyone that someone like him can be a hero. He has done it before in the other worlds. A tall girl with long red hair, a unicorn horn on her forehead, horse ears, tail, large orange wings on her back and light fur coat covering her body suddenly teleported into the lunchroom. The girl looks like a model in both her body and her beauty. She wore a loose pair blue pants with a checkered light blue pattern, a tuck-in purple shirt with green stripes, a red tie with white polka dots, a pair of black suspenders, and a pair of brown leather shoes. Her outfit showed off her very shapely body that looks more for an older woman. The girl looked around and her eyes lit up upon seeing Izuku. He was lifted into the air as the girl used telekinesis on him and pulled him over to her, embracing him in a hug. Being much taller than Izuku, his face is buried between her huge chest, causing all the boys and girls in the school to stare at the scene. "I finally found you," the girl said, hugging Izuku tightly to her chest. "Sunset?" Izuku gasped out, freeing his face from between her huge chest. "You actually think I wouldn't come looking for you," Sunset said as she looks down at him. "Mom and my aunt got me here, and now we can be together forever." "Hey!" a new voice called out. Walking into the lunchroom, Izuku saw Sunset's ladies-in-waiting and bodyguards, the Shadow Bolts. Indigo Zap leading the team made up of Sugarcoat, Sour Sweet, Lemon Zest and Sunny Flare. All of them tall and shapely thanks to their training, that are shown off by their gray uniforms that they wear. Along with the rest of the herd, Sunset added as her loyal ladies-in-waiting join her. "All of you came?" Izuku asked, looking at the friends he thought he would never see again. "You got us to form a herd around you and we're not going to let you go that easy," Indigo Zap said. "And you helped save our world and you just said goodbye before using that portal gun to go off to search for a way home, leaving us all behind. You're not getting off that easy," Sunset said. "You got isekai," a girl shouted out. "And got a bunch of girls to fall for you?" a boy asked Green with envy. "Yeah, I did," Izuku said, looking at his friends. "I'm Princess Sunset Shimmer of the Equestrian Kingdom and Izuku here is the stud for my herd," Sunset said, causing Izuku to blush and the rest of the students of the school to stare at him. "Izuku," a blonde girl shouted as she flies into him and hugs him. The girl has a blonde ponytail with a blue hairbow scrunchie and blue eyes. She wears a rainbow-colored mini-dress, mostly blue with white trim, with matching gumboots, as well as white bike shorts. On her arms are 2 rainbow-colored gauntlets. "Rainbow Bright, you found a way here?" Izuku asked, surprised seeing another friend he thought that he would never see again. "Of course, silly, you're my most special friend," Rainbow Bright said as she kisses him and pulls away. "And the color kids are here as well." Behind her are the color kids, Red Butler, Lala Orange, Canary Yellow, Patty O'Green, Buddy Blue, Indigo, Shy Violet, Tickled Pink, and Stormy. All smiling seeing their friend, who helped them in their time of need before leaving to search for a way home. "Took much time, but you're worth the effort to find you. Being the Sentinel of Light, Guardian of Light and Color, isn't something you can just walk away from," Stormy said. And more importantly, Stormy here was the one who wanted to find you the most, Lala Orange said, causing Stormy to blush. So are the other girls who don't have a boyfriend, Patty O'Green adds, causing the other girls to blush. Sorry Izuku, but your fate was sealed when you got them to fall for you, Buddy Blue said. And they're going to be a handful, Red Butler adds. What's going on here? Sunset snaps, getting their attention. Oh, you must be one of Izuku's friends here on Earth. I'm Rainbow Bright, Princess of Rainbow Land, and Izuku helped in saving our world by becoming the Sentinel of Light. And I'm going to marry him, Rainbow Bright said, blushing as she smiles. What? Sunset asked, shocked like everyone else. Izuku. A new blonde shouted as she, with butterfly wings on her back, flew over and grabbed him and swung him around and hugs him, talking a mile a minute. She has fair skin, light blue eyes and long blonde hair that goes down to her knees. Her cheeks have rose-pink heart emblems on them. She's wearing a turquoise sleeveless dress with frilly light blue shoulders, purple belt, puffy white trim, and a picture of a narwhal on the bottom left side, blue and purple striped leggings, grayish plum boots with pink tips with faces on them and dark blue soles, a magenta headband, and a silver spiked bracelet on her left wrist. Hey, name's Kelly, a girl whose entire body is covered by her mint green hair. I'm Higgs, a girl with short red hair said, who is dressed as a knight said. Both girls ran over to Izuku and did their best to free Izuku from the blonde's hold of him. And I'm Flying Princess, Lilacia, Ponyhead, the flying unicorn head said. Which is causing lots of people to freak out as she's just ahead. Now let me inform you of what's going on. You see Izuku over there help us to save Muni, and left. And Star, as in Princess Star Butterfly of the Kingdom of Muni, was all so sad seeing him go. So after lots of stuff, we finally found a way to come to him, to Earth, Ponyhead explains. Oh, Sunset and Rainbow Bright said. Also Star, Kelly, and Higgs are in love with him and they're willing to share him, Ponyhead said. What? The girls who are after Izuku all shouted. Izuku was freed from Star's hold thanks to a lasso pulling him free. And into the arms of a beautiful, tan-skinned young woman with a slender yet athletic, hourglass figure, and classic length, wavily styled navy blue hair with lighter colored streaks. She also sport thick black brows and sky blue eyes, and her makeup consists of lightly placed blush on her cheeks, and fuchsia pink lipstick on her lips. Who is a superhero by the outfit she wears. Her superhero costume consists of a set of earrings similar to the ones she wears on her civilian attire, albeit larger in size, and an Alabama red corset that is decorated with gold in the upper part, along with golden shoulder pads placed on the straps and a large golden belt around her waist. She also wore a blue skirt with white stars all over it, and Alabama red knee-high boots with white stripes going down from the top, along with knee pads placed on them which sport the same design as her shoulder pads. She's also with 5 other girls all dressed as superheroes. A girl dress as a bat, a girl dress in green, one dress as a stage magician, one dress in blue and red, and one wearing bee-theme armor. Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Green Lantern, Zatanna, Supergirl, Bumblebee? Izuku asked, looking around the familiar faces of the superheroines he met in that superhero world. And popping out from behind Wonder Woman is a female clown. Harley Quinn? That's right, we're here. For you, Harley Quinn said, and turns to Star and the other girls. Wow, you were sure right about your world having tons of people with powers. Sorry girls, but the Wonder and the gals here all been wanting to get into Izuku pants since he left. Harley. The superheroines all yelled at the clown and Wonder Woman, putting Izuku down as she and the others all glared at Harley. What, that's why you gals are all here, Harley said. And why are you here, Harley? Izuku asked. Sloppy seconds, Harley Quinn said bluntly, causing everyone to turn red and several people, both guys and girls, getting noses bleeds. The sound of marching feet got all of their attention as Egyptian, space-themed women soldiers came marching into the lunchroom, and them parting to reveal a slender girl of medium height, with very dark grayish violet, and warm, hair that has horizontal golden streaks or highlights and olive tan skin. Her eyes are olive green as her overall color scheme is purple and gold. The defining trait that she is royalty is her golden crown in the shape of a tiara with an ibis in the center. She's wearing an Egyptian-style dress gown, which is a complex dress made with teal, cyan, golden yellow, white and semi-transparent sky blue materials. It is also shown coupled with bracelets, sandals and a necklace made out of gold, red gemstones, and some green-colored material. Cleopatra? Izuku asked. Yes, Izuku. You my hero who saved the Nile Galaxy Empire. I came here to keep my promise. I would find you and make you my husband, Cleopatra said, her face beaming with joy. What? The girls all shouted out again as more competition appeared. A portal opens up and out steps out a girl with classic length wavy blonde hair with bangs swept to the right and a medium-length hair strand resting on her left shoulder, fair skin, light blue eyes, freckles around her nose, and pale pink lips. Who has on a white strapless mini dress with a gold neckline with a pink heart outlined with a golden line and trim heart-shaped cut in the center, pink and white underlayers with gold trim. A floor-length sheer mesh below the hips from behind, white long handless gloves with gold lining and rose-pink thigh-high boots with dark pink thighs. Followed by 4 more girls behind her. Iris, Talia, Oriana, Carissa, Lina. Izuku asked, seeing them again. We came to find our songwriter. We were never the same without you, and we can't find anyone else that we love so dearly that we all agree to share you, Iris said, having practiced what she would say to Izuku, who saved them all. This is getting ridiculous, one of the girl students said. Another portal opens up and a slightly fair-skinned girl with waist-length red-orange hair with a single small hair strand sticking up and large cyan eyes, with large fairy wings on her back, came through. She's wearing a light teal crop top that only covers her large breasts and shows off her slender figure and matching mini-skirt and matching boots. Followed by 6 more girls with fairy wings, skimpy outfits with only one wearing a full-skin tight bodysuit and techno wings. Bloom, Stella, Flora, Musa, Tekna, Aisha, Roxy, you found a portal to my dimension? Izuku asked. We did. We combine all of our resources to find the right Earth, Bloom said. Made easy thanks to you still having our magic on you, Tekna said. We did name you our knight and sharing our magic with you, making you our consort, Flora said. While the newer girls look on in shock, Sunset just holds her face in her hand. Izuku. A girl cried out, running into the room with 8 other women. Usagi? Izuku said, easily recognizing her by her hairstyle. 1. Usagi has blue eyes and long blonde hair that she wears in Odango. She has porcelain skin and a slim figure. She and her group all wore matching outfits with different colors. The uniform she has on consists of a white chest-armored leotard with a blue sailor collar that has 3 white stripes on it, white gloves with 3 red arm fittings that reach just below her elbows, yellow 3-looped shoulder pads, a wavy blue skirt with a puffy white belt sat above it, along with a reddish-pink bow on the chest and at the back. She also sports a pair of reddish-pink short-heeled knee-high boots with a white border at the triangular top that has gold crescent moons, earrings consisting of gray studs with gold stars and crescent moons beneath, white-bordered red circular hairpieces, 1 on each Odango, 2 white-winged hair clips in her hair, and a white choker with a gold crescent moon on it and a pendant that is similar to her transformation brooch attached to it. Her brooch is worn in the middle of her chest bow, and a gold tiara with a reddish-pink oval-shaped gem at its center. Amy, Rei, Makoto, Minako, Haruka, Michiru, Hotaru, Izuku said, seeing all of the magic guardians of their home planets. Took me a while, but I finally figured out how to make a portal machine, using the data I scanned from your portal gun, Amy said. Now you can marry the others and be strapped to the bed, Hotaru said bluntly, who is the youngest, causing everyone to stare at her. Hotaru. Haruka said to her red-faced. But that's what you said you want to do when we find Izuku, Hotaru said, causing Haruka to turn red as she covers her face with her hands as everyone stares at her. Loud barking caught everyone's attention as a German shepherd dog that is part robot with a glass dome showing off the brain, jump into Izuku and licks his face, taking everyone's attention off of Haruka. Roxy. Izuku shouted as he hugs and pets the cyborg dog. Puppy. Hotaru said as she joins in on the petting. She's yours? She was my companion when I was in a post-apocalyptic world after a nuclear war happened. But I left her and the others with Ruby? Izuku asked, spotting a new figure walking into the lunchroom. Ruby is a slender girl who sports aquamarine skin, having dark blue shoulder-length tentacle hair protruding from the top of her head, the coloration transitioning into a cyan near the tips. She possesses vibrant turquoise eyes with white sclera and dark blue eyelashes, with her most distinctive physical attribute being her ears, which resemble pectoral fins. She's wearing a green turtleneck sweater, purple high-waisted jean short shorts, purple, dark gray, and white striped leggings, gray knitted socks, and dark purple boots with purplish blue laces. Izuku, Ruby said as she walks up to her friend and hopefully something more. She is followed by a spherical robot with a loudspeaker and electrical zapper on the front and several long antennas protruding from its top and back. And a small toy-size robot with a TV screen for a face and moving by a single wheel. Eddie. Muggy, Izuku asked, seeing his old robot companions. Ruby, how did you and the others get here? The robot made several beeping sounds which Izuku understood perfectly, as did Amy, Tekna, Bumblebee, and Shy Violet, as well as one student who has a quirk that lets him understand anything he hears. Wow, that's amazing. This Dr. Mobius was able to create a gateway with the limited technology of that world? Tekna said. She had a hard time using her world's advanced technology to find Izuku, and this doctor managed to do it with much lower level technology. Ed E made another series of beeps. Captain Ironsides and the others wanted to fly the Constitution over the city to find you, but that would have been a problem. So I came with just Ed E, Roxy, Muggy, and Toe, Ruby said. Toe's here? Izuku remembering making Toe. Toe, a male robot who has a Mr. Handy body, sentry legs and robo-brain arms. Is armored in hydraulic frame from top to bottom in a blue paint job. Left arm is a Protectron hand automatic laser. Right is a Assaultron shock claw. Toe is designed for towing anything from vehicles to other large objects, with the shock claw for jump starting an engine. We rode on him while following Roxy. He's outside, Muggy said. I showed you around my world, now you can show me around yours and I can meet your mother, Ruby said as she pulls Izuku onto his feet. Izuku, there you are. A girl with long black hair done in a bun shouted as she walks into the room with two other girls and a large beast of some kind. She's wearing armor that is elaborately designed, colored primarily in black, with scarlet detailing and fine golden tracing. Worn over the chest extends across the shoulders with sturdy pieces and down to the top of the stomach. An insignia is visible on the front directly beneath the neck area on the chest. Azula, Ty Lee. June, how did you get here? Izuku asked, seeing the three walking over to him. Travel through the spirit realm and used a magic tree with roots that reaches to other worlds to get here, Azula explains. And you still owe me, June said, patting Nyla, her pet Shirshu. She kept that scarf you gave her and is how we found you, Ty Lee teased, causing June to blush. Anyways, I came to claim you, Azula said. Claim me? Izuku asked. Yes, as my consort, Azula said. You gave her that dress and that necklace and she said loves it at the party, Ty Lee said. Which is part of an engagement ceremony where doing so in public means that she has accepted you, June said. And you left by then, Azula, feeling both rage at him and herself for not wearing it at his going away party. She had thought that the gifts was from her mom, Ty Lee said. Took time to track down the tailor who made the dress and who placed the order, Azula said. You could have put a note saying it was from you. I wanted to surprise you, and when I saw you not wearing it before I left, I just thought you didn't like it. I didn't know about it being part of an engagement thing, Izuku said. You didn't know, Azula said, feeling the rug pulled out from under her. All this time she thought that she had broken his heart when she didn't wear it and gave him no reason to stay. The wall of the lunchroom broke apart as a tall and large-muscled man with bluish hair, light skin, dark eyes burst through, showing behind him an army of soldiers and strange-looking war machines in the air. Snipe! Izuku shouted out. Oh, got the right school, the man named Snipe said. A flying machine lands and a girl gets off. She wears a hood which uncurls into a mane, a cloak over black armor, and held a staff with a crystal on it. She has shoulder-length purple hair and eyes. Everything about her spoke of her being a villain, and she knows it. Izuku, you thought you could escape from me, the girl said. Lark, Izuku said, remembering how she had disguise she put on to get more information from him. It's Master Cyclonus, the girl said. Is she a friend? Ruby asked Izuku. She did keep me prisoner as she wanted me to reveal what I knew of the portal gun. Even disguising herself as Lark to get close to me to learn about it. And she does see me as a friend, Izuku said. So why is she so hostile to you? Ruby asked. I accidentally teleported in her private bathroom, while she was using it, Izuku said, causing everyone to stare at him as that's not a good thing. But she didn't mind it, she was more interested in the portal gun. Which you stole, after I was so kind as to make you my personal servant, Master Cyclonus said, growling as he just told everyone how they first met. If you had done that to me I would had cut your balls off, a redhead on a flying machine said. Yeah, Reves would do that, Snipe said. But I should thank you for stealing it back and getting away. It forced me to work harder to figure out how to make my own portal fluid and open so many possibilities to me, using the ideas that you gave me. Instead of wasting time to conquer a world, why not strip an empty world instead, where all life is gone but the ruins remain? Advanced technologies and resources all just there for the taking and no one alive to stop us. Cyclonia is now much more powerful, I rebuilt everything using the technologies we plundered. And now we're much more powerful than ever before. The other countries have agreed to bend the knee as their economies were destroyed by mine. All thanks to you, Izuku, Master Cyclonus said. Everyone looked at Izuku. The kingdom expands because of the lack of resources it has. If they are able to go to worlds that is empty, they could just take what they need without having to attack anyone. Why attack when there's no need to? And while her people do fear her, they don't hate her, as all she does is to keep her people safe and taken care of, Izuku said. I'm the princess of the Cyclonia Empire, not a warlord who burns and pillage without thinking of what happens later. Keeping the people safe and having a nice standard of life keeps them happy with how things are run, Master Cyclonus said. You really gave her the determination and focus to find you, Dark Ace said. Yeah, heard her screaming that she would find you no matter what and make you her pet, Snipe said. No, she said husband, Reves said. What's the difference? Snipe asked, and Master Cyclonus, who didn't even look at him as she blasted him with a bolt from her staff, sending him flying backwards and moaning in pain on the floor when he came to a stop. Oh, I get it, you're an evil princess and a tsundere. I know from experience, Usagi said, hitting her hand into her open palm. How would you know that? Rei asked, which caused all the scouts to stare at her. Hey. Izuku. A new voice called out, getting everyone's attention. Adora. Izuku called out, recognizing the voice. Running into the lunchroom, the girl. Adora is a tall, pale tan-skinned teenage girl with a slender and athletic physique. She has blue-gray eyes, dark brown narrow eyebrows, and thick lashes. Her most distinctive feature is her long dark blonde hair, usually kept in a high ponytail with a dark gray hair tie, and a poof in the front. Adora wears a red, quarter-length sleeved jacket with a popped pale beige collar. Under her jacket, she wears a white turtleneck with pointed cuffs, small red stripes on the sleeves and light gray accents. She also dons a set of plain gray leggings and calf-length red boots with white accents, complementing the color scheme of her jacket and turtleneck. Adora completes the look with a dark greenish-brown belt with a golden wing buckle. Behind her is a group following her lead, and a unicorn with colored wings. Glimmer, Bow, Perfuma, Mermista, Frosta, Catra, Scorpia, Entrapta. Izuku called out before he was tackled and was treated to a group hug. We all thought you died, Adora sobs as she holds Izuku. The others of her party are also sobbing upon being reunited with the friend who they all thought was lost. If it wasn't for Madame Raz calling me and Adora by other names and talking like you were still around, we would never had known, Catra sobs as she clings on tight to Izuku. What's going on? Master Cyclonus shouted out, confused as everyone else. Oh, let me explain, the alicorn horse said. You can talk? Master Cyclonus asked, surprised. Name is Swift Wind and I'm a magical horse. Izuku there defeated Horde Prime, the leader of the intergalactic Horde Empire, on his flagship, which blew up. We all thought that Izuku died on board the ship, but it turns out that portal gun that he said was out of that green juice had enough left to send him home. Madame Raz is able to see and interact with the past, present and future all at the same time, so she gets confused a lot. But she started calling some of the girls different names and talking about their father Izuku, made everyone realize that he was still alive and he would have kids with the girls, Swift Wing explains. What? A loud cry echoed out. A pillar of light appeared and several Amazons came out of it, dark-skinned and having red hair, wearing tight tops and large white pants, all carrying some kind of weapon. Then a slender and light-skinned dark blonde elf girl stepped out. wearing a royal-looking blue and white robes that is both simple but elegant at the same time. She looked around and spotted Izuku in a group hug. "Zelda?" Izuku asked, seeing her. "Found a way to open a gateway to your world," Zelda said, walking up to him as he freed himself from who she assumed to be his friends. "And I couldn't just let her go alone," the leader of the Amazon women said. "Good to see you, Nora. But why?" Izuku asked, which Zelda just hugs him. "Because I love you. I made the wish to return you home because I love you enough to let you go back home. But afterwards, Mother and the other sages worked together and Mother made a wish of her own, to open a gateway to you," Zelda said, as she had wished for this to happen ever since she let him go. "Alright, is there anyone else going to show up and proclaim their love for Izuku?" Sunset shouted out, as she had enough of girls just showing up proclaiming their love of Izuku. "Hey Izuku! Why is that girl hugging you?" Katsuki shouted out, entering the room, causing everyone to look at him with weird looks or shocked faces. "Oh, now it gotten interesting," Ponyhead said, smiling. "What's going on here?" Katsuki asked, looking at the hole in the wall and so many strangers. "Where have you been for the last 10 minutes? A girl classmate asked. "Bathroom," Katsuki said, making the girls relieved that Izuku isn't gay, which would explain lots of things. Izuku been isekai to many different worlds before coming back, and now a bunch of the friends he made all came with a couple being in love with him, the girl said. "What ugly, fat, zit-faced girl would want a quirkless loser like him?" Katsuki asked. The girl got a fearful look and sidestepped away from him, as did everyone else close by. Katsuki sweated, as just about all the new girls have dark auras around them are glaring at him. "Just about all the girls here," Ponyhead said. "You're in so much of a beat down, but we're heroes," Batgirl growled. "But I'm not that good," Harley said before pointing to Master Cyclonus. "And she's an evil princess who can fire beams of energy from that staff of hers. Blast him." "With pleasure," Master Cyclonus said, as she blasted Katsuki and sent him flying through the lunchroom entrance and down the hall. "Lark!" Izuku shouted out. "That didn't kill him," Master Cyclonus said. "Izuku, are these the friends that you told me about?" Zelda asked, looking around. "Yes, they are," Izuku said. "And they're all in love with you?" Zelda asked, her eyes narrowing. "The lasso of truth compels you to tell us why you got us all to fall for you?" Wonder Woman asked, as she wraps the magic rope around Izuku's arm. "I didn't know you girls fell for me. I just thought we are just good friends," Izuku said. All the girls stared at him. "Even when we shared the hot spring together, or how I treated you to a dance, naked?" Cleopatra asked, causing the girls to glare at her. "I thought it was a cultural thing. I read that in ancient Egypt dancers would be naked," Izuku said. "How I was okay with you sharing my room and bathroom?" Star asked. "The kisses?" Bloom asked. "Me sleeping on the same bed together and holding you tightly?" Rainbow Bright asked. "Me singing all those love songs to you?" Iris asked. "Bringing you meals I made myself?" Usagi asked. "I thought all of you were just being nice to me," Izuku said, causing everyone to stare at him. "You never hanged out with girls but for your mother, have you?" Sunset asked. "Yes," Izuku said. "How can someone as clueless as you get so many girls to fall for you?" Dark Ace asked, slapping his forehead. "Too. I'm fixing that once we're back home," Master Cyclonus said, as she used her staff and traps Izuku in its beam of energy and pulled him away from Zelda. "Oh no you don't," Stormy said, as she fires a bolt of lightning at Master Cyclonus, who was unaffected by it thanks to a force field. Ruby arms stretched out and wraps them around Izuku and pulls him free from the energy that held him. "Attack!" Master Cyclonus shouted, sending her soldiers in to attack, and started a free-for-all as everyone was after the same thing. Izuku, who somehow gotten 13 princesses and their friends to fall for him. The police had been getting strange calls all day. A girl with a mutation quirk riding a robot, 3 girls stepping out of a portal with a floating unicorn head. A bunch of kids traveling by a rainbow. An aircraft landing in the field of the high school the war machines are gathered at. The call centers were all ringing off the hooks as calls came in about a villain attack on a school. A police car made it to the school first and called in that the school is being attacked by an army on flying war machines. She called for all available heroes to get to the school. She's under fire from the war machines. Gunhead arrived first and used his Gatling gun arms to lay down some covering fire, which the flying machines have force fields. allowing the police to get close to the school, which a rainbow-like beam blasted out from the roof of the school. Getting close, they could see a full-scale battle is going on as different groups are fighting each other. Other heroes arrived and were also greeted by the sight of the free-for-all. Death Arms, a huge man with super strength. Ingenium has a quirk that allows him to move fast. Rocklock, his quirk is Lockdown. It allows him to secure objects into a point of space, freezing them. Snatch, his quirk allows him to transform his upper body into sand. Okay, who do we fight? Rocklock asks, seeing how some of the fighters are dressed in costumes like them. Well, the ones in the flying war machines are attacking us, Gunhead said, firing at the flying machines, and they have force fields. A flying blonde girl dressed in red and blue flew into the air and began smashing the flying machines as her punches broke the force field and the machines, sending the people flying them falling. They were caught by a girl in green who used green hard light constructions to grab them and place them in a box. Okay, we just have to hit them hard, Death Arms said, ready to fight, when a blue skin girl with her arms wrapped around a green-haired boy, riding on a came out of the school. Riding a robot on 3 legs with treads came racing out. A flying ball robot followed with a small toy robot clinging onto it. The robot on the ground raced past the heroes, with the flying robot following. I'll go after them, Ingenium said, racing after the speeding robots. Suddenly bursting out of the damaged school, a girl in purple riding one of the flying war machines came flying out and leading the rest of the flying war machines after the speeding robot. Followed by a girl riding a horse with a rainbow mane, racing on a rainbow. A girl riding a winged unicorn came next. A whole bunch of people riding on green machines that either flew using what looks like fans or wheeled vehicles. Followed by the rest of the people who were fighting, like the ones in Egyptian-style clothes and vehicles. The heroes and cops had to move out of the stampede of bodies came racing out and after the 2 robots and the boy and girl riding the big one. Elsewhere, Ruby looked behind her as a mob are racing after Toe. She tightened her grip on Izuku, trying to save him from that madness behind them. She remembered the 2 months they shared together after he and the USS Constitution came flying to her port hometown. How she and Izuku became friends and how he and his robot crew helped save her from that mermaid who pretended to be her friend. And how he left by himself, leaving the doctor, who is just a brain in a jar, and his core behind as his portal gun just couldn't bring all of them with him. I thought those friends of yours were nice, Ruby said. They're just not when they get work up like this, Izuku said. What's going on? Ingenium shouted as he caught up with the speeding robot and is clinging to the side to be able to talk to the 2 riding on it. It's a harem situation, and the girls are all after Izuku here. And the one with the flying war machines in purple is an evil princess, Ruby said to Ingenium. You got to be kidding me, Ingenium said, looking back and being reminded of that old Ranma series where a big chase happened in that movie. I know, Lark, and the only reason why her soldiers' weapons aren't lethal is because she doesn't want to risk me being hit in the crossfire. She's moved then, willing to kill as many people as it will take to get me, Izuku said. So why did you get her to fall for you? Ruby asked. I thought all she needed was a friend. She's a lonely girl who lacks a friend, and her parents raised her to be ruthless and evil. I thought if I taught her how to be pragmatic in how she would do things, I could get her to start the path of future rulers being less evil, Izuku said. Izuku, don't you watch shows or read mangas where the evil princess falls for the first guy who treats her like a person and not as a princess? Ruby asked. Not really, Izuku said. Why are you so dense? Ruby asked, wondering why she had to fall for a guy who is so dense to love. And suddenly thought of something. Besides them, are there anyone else that's going to show up to claim you as their husband? I don't think so, Izuku said. I'm going with there are more, just that they have no way of opening a portal to another universe, Ruby said. That sounds about right. If this is a harem thing, that would happen, Ingenium said. A net was fired from one of the flying war machines, but Toe used his hand laser to blast it before it hit. Followed by more blasts as Toe blasted more nets out of the sky, using 2 of his eye stalks to look backwards while the middle eye stalk kept its eye on the road. They are gaining, Toe said. Izuku, what do we do? You're the one who comes up with the plans, Muggy said, still on edge. I don't know, Izuku said, trying to think of something. Isn't there anyone who can talk them down, like their parents? Ingenium asked. That's it. Ruby, you can contact Dr. Mobius. No, wait, it's already hard enough for him to open a portal to my dimension, yet alone contacting the dimensions where the others came from. Wait, I know. Discord, Mixiezpilik. Where are you two? Izuku shouted out. A mismatched creature made out of different parts appeared, along with a small old man with a purple bowler hat. You called lover boy? Mixiezpilik asked in a voice that sounds like an actor from years back. We were having a chat watching this harem situation you found yourself in. Couldn't have done better if I did it myself, Discord said. The girls are out of control, go and tell their moms, Izuku said. And ruin the show? Mixiezpilik asked. We haven't even gotten to the part where they destroy the city as they fight over you, Discord said. Which is why we need to stop them, Ingenium said. Who's he? Discord asked. A local hero, Izuku said. Oh yeah, Mixiezpilik said, pulling out a guidebook of the characters of My Hero, out of nowhere. So hard to keep up with who is who, with such a big crossover, let alone a background character. Hey, Ingenium said. Oh please, like you're going to appear more than a background character after this, Discord said, waving him off. Ed E suddenly made loud beeps that caused both Chaos Lords to pay the robot their attention. Good point, Mixiflick said, looking to Discord. Got us there. Lead them back to the school, Discord said, and poof away with the imp. Since when Ed E got so convincing? Izuku asked. All of the robots got some upgrades since they've been in my world, Ruby said. Good, and tell the other heroes about the plan, Izuku said to Ingenium. Right, Ingenium said, letting go, and without his added weight Toe went much faster, leading the mob close behind. Following Izuku's directions, Toe went around and headed back to the school with everyone following behind. But Master Cyclonus flying above had already realized what Izuku was doing, and while her soldiers kept up the chase, she called for backup. As the mob reached the school that they just came from, Master Cyclonus was waiting for them. Portals open up in the air and on the ground as 30-foot-tall purple robots flew out of them. They landed around the school, and the chase stopped as the people stare at the giant robots. More portals open and a fleet of warships came out them, and the city was treated to a scene right out of a science fiction film or show. Sentinels made in a world where powerless humans, fearing those with powers they call mutants, created giant killer robots. Where they kill off all humans as humans are mutants, but the ones who made the robots couldn't see that till after they were being killed by their robots. Master Cyclonus to the crowd. Lark, I know about the Sentinels and you brought them here? Izuku shouted. Just surrender yourself to me, Izuku. I got these in a world that has a powerful EMP waves coming from the center, causing all electric-powered technology to fail. So I helped myself to the now powerless war machines there, thanks to my technology powered by energy crystals instead. I fixed them up so that they don't go on a rampage anymore and follow commands like a good robot should. But they still have the firepower to kill superpowered people, if I give the go-ahead. I know that much of the population of this world have powers, and if I unleash them, they will kill anyone with a power or a quirk as it's called here. And the robots are designed to reconfigure their bodies and weapons to handle any kind of power used on them. So as I said before, give up and no one will have to die. And I have a fleet of warships on standby, Master Cyclonus said. I'm giving up, Izuku said, getting off Toe and heading towards Master Cyclonus. Good, and I'm making sure you're not going to be running away again, Master Cyclonus said as the flying machine she's on lowers down to the ground. The giant robots all suddenly jerked as they were all crushed like a soda can. And I have the power to move planets and stars with my mind, Sunset said, staring at Master Cyclonus. Too. And you're not the only one who is party of the ruling family of an empire, Cleopatra said as portals open up and Egyptian-style warships appeared in the sky. She's a princess of a space-faring empire, Master Cyclonus asked Izuku. She's the princess of the Nile Galaxy Empire, which rules much of the galaxy it's in, Izuku said. That explains things, Master Cyclonus said, seeing how her fleet is outnumbered. All Cyclonia forces stand down, a voice called out on all channels. Mom? Master Cyclonus asked, hearing her voice. All Nile forces stand down as well, another voice called out on open channel. That's my mom, Cleopatra said. I contacted your moms, Izuku said, causing the two royal princesses to glare at him. It's the only way to stop this. How? Sunset asked. Discord and Mixiezpilik, Izuku answered. Huh, you got your moms called on you. Star laughed and died as a hand grabbed her wand out of her hand and she saw who it is. They're not the only ones, Moon Butterfly said. dressed in her royal dress and has her tall beehive-like hairstyle. "Hi Mom," Kelly said meekly as her much larger mom stepped out of the portal, who is the size of a building which her family uses her hair as a home. Which her smaller dad stepped out of the hair of his wife. The scene is repeated as the parents of the girls and friends of said girls all appeared. Getting their children under control, more heroes also appeared and were informed of what's going on. The queens of the lead girls pulling their daughters over to Izuku to sort things out. Sunset Shimmer stood with her mother Celestia, the ruler of Equestria. A towering figure standing at over 9 feet tall and has very voluptuous body, that the white dress she's wearing doesn't hide very well. Rainbow Bright, with her mother Queen Rainbow of Rainbowland, who is a more mature version of her daughter who has her hair long. Star Butterfly, and Queen Moon of Muni. Wonder Woman with her much larger mother Queen Hippolyta of the Amazons of the Mistira, who towers over her daughter and is the second tallest mother. Cleopatra, with her mother Pharaoh Yosira, dressed in her royal robes and held the royal staff. Iris, with her mother Queen Helia of Ephedia, who towers over her daughter but is only the third tallest. Bloom, with her mother Queen Marion of Domino, who unlike her daughter is wearing a dress that covers her mature body. Adora, with her mother Queen Marlena Glenn of Eternia, wearing her normal green dress and tiara. Master Cyclonus, with her mother Queen Torrent of Cyclonia, who is wearing a dark purple robe that completely covers her mature form. Azula, with her mother Queen Ursa of the Fire Nation, dressed in robes of the royal colors of the royal family. Usagi, with her mother Queen Serenity of the Moon Kingdom, who looks like her daughter but her hair is silver and wearing a silver dress. Ruby Gilman, with her mom Agatha Gilman of the Kraken Kingdom, who like her daughter is wearing more normal clothes than royal-looking clothing. Zelda, with her mother Zelda of the Kingdom of Hyrule, who is a more mature-looking version of the younger one. "I can't believe you called her," Master Cyclonus growls at Izuku. "It's the only way to stop things from getting more out of hand," Izuku said. "He's right, I'm disappointed in your actions. You should have just grabbed him from the start and not waste any time. Gloat after you have him all to yourself and chain up," Queen Torrent said, causing the other mothers to look at her. "She's an evil princess," Bloom said, "and has much to learn still," Torrent said. "Izuku, what's going on here?" Izuku Midoriya asked, having been teleported to the school by that strange little man with the purple hat. "Oh, I got this," Ponyhead said, flying over. "You see, Izuku here got isekai to different dimensions thanks to him finding a portal gun on his way to school one day. And while he was traveling he managed to get all of these princesses and some of their friends to fall for him. And now he has a harem of girls who have managed to come to this world for him. Man, I need to get some popcorn for all of this drama." "Izuku, you romanced all of these girls?" Inko asked. "No, that's the best part. He's so dense when it comes to girls, he had no idea that they were all falling for him. He's the completely clueless guy in romance fiction that has no idea that the girl or girls are in love with him till they literally shove it into his face," Ponyhead laughs. The mothers were shocked at the news that Izuku had no idea that he was romancing their daughters. Hippolyta grabs the lasso of truth and wraps it around Izuku. "The lasso of truth will force you to only speak the truth. Did you know you were romancing my daughter, or that by defeating her in battle and giving her back her weapon in the tournament as part of the Amazon engagement ceremony?" Hippolyta asked. "I had no idea and thought I was just being nice and we're just good friends," Izuku said, making Hippolyta's eyes widen. "Cleopatra performing a dance in the nude for you?" Yosira asked, causing Cleopatra to blush. "I thought it was a culture thing," Izuku said. "Sunset letting you stay in her room and her bed? Even after I learned about you?" Celestia asked. As with Star, Moon said, "Same here," Queen Rainbow adds. "Being a good friend," Izuku said, causing the three mothers to stare at him with a twitch in their eyes. "All of those love songs?" Helia asked. "Thought we were just making love songs," Izuku said, causing Helia to slap her forehead. "Bloom and her friends always kissing you?" Marion asked. "A cultural greeting," Izuku said, causing Marion and the other Winx Club mothers all to shake their heads. "Spending those nights outside staring at the sky, holding hands?" Marlena asked. "Spending time together before the big battle," Izuku said, causing Marlena to rub the bridge of her nose. "Making you all of those sandwiches for your meals?" Serenity asked. I thought she felt guilty for that disgusting meal she tried to cook for me and switched to sandwiches as it's the only thing she couldn't ruin. As she just can't cook, Izuku said, causing Serenity to look at a blushing Usagi and sighed, nodding in agreement along with the other princesses and queens of her court. You didn't know that gifting a dress and jewelry to a girl who, if she proclaims to love it, is how men ask for the woman's hand in marriage? Ursa asked, remembering how Azula, after learning who gave her the gifts, fell into depression and clung to her, crying as she broke Izuku's heart and caused him to leave. No, I thought I was just being a good friend, Izuku said, causing Ursa to hug Azula close to her and whisper to her in a soft voice that it wasn't her fault he left. Cyclonus never ordering your death or anything for you appearing in her bathroom while she was using it? Torrent asked, causing Cyclonus to blush and growl. I thought she understood it was just an accident, Izuku said. How she made you her personal servant and didn't minded you being with her even when she was underdressed or naked. Having a seat at our meals, you sleeping in her room. Or making you wash her? Torrent asked again. My duties as her servant, Izuku said, causing everyone to just stare at him. Gee, compared to all that, what you and Rudy did together is more slow romance as friends grow into something more. But there is you two swimming in the pool of blissful matrimony, Agatha said. We thought it was just a heated pool, Izuku said. Yeah, Mom, remember I told you and Grandma after she thought we wanted to be engaged with each other, Ruby said. Zelda giving up her only wish to send you back home after the portal gun wouldn't work anymore? Queen Zelda asked. I thought she was being a good friend, and as thanks for me sharing all the technology and knowledge I had picked up along the way, Izuku said. The mothers all look at each other and turn to Inko. Your son has never really talked to girls his own age, has he? Celestia asked. Yes, Inko said, shaking her head as one she's proud of her son bonding with so many girls, and embarrassment at the fact he's completely clueless about them falling for him. Reminds me of how Freddy was completely clueless about me being in love with him, Kelly's mom said. Really? How did you get to Dad? Kelly asked. Simple, I punch him asking him why I'm mad at him, after doing so many nice things for him. He finally answered correctly and we got married shortly afterwards. It's the reason why our wedding photo has your dad in the hospital in a full body case, Kelly's mom said. I was so dense back then. But thanks to Jenny, I learned from my mistake and we've been happy ever since, Freddy said. Well, I know that, now, Izuku said as he doesn't like the looks the girls are giving him. You better, Star said as she pounded her fist into her palm. How did this all started? Inko asked at a loss of what happened. We can handle this, Discord said as he appears with Mxyzptlk. Oh, it's you, Hippolyta said, frowning at the imp. Been a while, O king of the Manazans, Mxyzptlk greeted her. What? Wonder Woman asked, looking at her mother. I once turned her and all the other women on the island into men, Mxyzptlk said. Oh, really? Maybe a new gender flip is in order, where Izuka is chased by a horde of boys who all want to marry her, Discord said. Discord, Celestia said, glaring at the spirit of chaos. Oh, don't worry, it wouldn't be a permanent thing, just a few days, or maybe a nick. Discord was cut off as Torrent blasted him using her own staff of power like the one her daughter has, turning Discord into ash and blew away in the wind. Thank you, Celicita said to the evil queen. It was my pleasure, Torrent said. Now that hurt, the voice of Discord said as he reforms. Come on, we need to move the story along, Mxyzptlk said, looking out at nothing to the people around them. Right, Discord said, winking in the same direction. The ruined school is rebuilt as a huge movie theater, and before anyone could move, the people on the school grounds are in the theater. Izuku and his group are there as well as the students, heroes, and some reporters with camera crews. Discord appeared in front of the big screen. Seeing how everyone is wondering how this all happened, me and Mxyzptlk have made a video to show the highlights of Izuku Midoriya adventures through different dimensions. We only showing the highlights to cut down the runtime to 3 hours. Also, we're skipping the worlds that Izuku quickly left for one reason or another. And this is being broadcast on the networks and online so everyone can see what happened and have no questions of what is happening, Discord said and disappeared. Showtime. Mxyzptlk shouted from the back of the theater and turned on the film. The film begins showing Izuku walking home from school. When he noticed something glowing in an alleyway, walking to the glow, he found a strange-looking gun with a tube of glowing green liquid inside. He pointed it at the ground in front of him to see what would happen, thinking it's just a toy gun. He fired it and a green portal appeared underneath him, sending him falling. Music begins to play as Izuku falling through a black, empty watery void, creating bubbles as he descends. When you walk away you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. It's hard to let it go. Suddenly he wakes up on a beach, and is blinded by the light. When his eyes finally adjust he sees Sunset, who changed to Sugarcoat, Lemon Zest and other girls he would come to know, standing in the water. You're giving me too many things lately, you're all I need. You smiled at me and said. Izuku goes to meet the ever-changing girl, but suddenly stops when he realizes the tide is going out. A massive wave forms behind the girl, but she doesn't seem to mind, as she gestures to Izuku to come to her. Don't get me wrong, I love you, but does that mean I have to meet your father? When we are older you'll understand what I meant when I said. No, I don't think life is quite that simple. Izuku tries to rescue the girl, but he is too late and he gets knocked under the water by the wave. He looks up to see the ever-shifting girls still standing in front of him, gesturing him to come with her. Izuku tries to reach her, but the current pulls him back to the beach. When you walk away you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. It's hard to let it go. Eddie suddenly drives into the water and gets underneath Izuku and flies him out of the water, heading out to sea. So simple and clean. The two lands on a wooden sailship, the USS Constitution, that has 4 large rockets on it, allowing it to fly, and is crewed by robots, with Roxy helping Izuku up and helping him over to the wheel of the ship. Secundo appeared and displayed a map in front of Izuku. The daily things, like this and that and what is what, that keep us all busy or confusing me. That's when you came to me and said. Izuku nodded to his crew as he sailed the ship, flying into a green portal. Wish I could prove I love you, but does that mean I have to walk on water? When we are older you'll understand it's enough when I say so. And maybe some things are that simple. The ship flies over different landscapes as a massive storm appears behind them. The storm reaches the ship, sending the ship falling into an ocean. When you walk away you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. It's hard to let it go. Izuku emerges from the water to see Ruby at the beach, waving at him. Hold me. Whatever lies beyond this morning is a little later on. Regardless of warnings, the future doesn't scare me at all. Nothing's like before. Izuku meets with her, and the two laugh, before they see shooting stars and something falling from the sky. When you walk away you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. It's hard to let it go. Izuku realizes it's him, and almost immediately finds himself falling from the sky. Ruby tries to reach for him, but disappears as a ripple-like transition. Hold me. Whatever lies beyond this morning is a little later on. Regardless of warnings, the future doesn't scare me at all. Nothing's like before. Izuku then plunges into the ocean, and see him falling in the black void like from at the start. Hold me. Whatever lies beyond this morning is a little later on. Regardless of warnings, the future doesn't scare me at all. Nothing's like before. A title appeared across the black void. My hero, Princess Harem. First world. Beyond good and evil. Izuku is in a workshop talking to a pigman who is looking over the portal gun. Kid, I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see you falling from that portal, Paige said, looking over the device. An image of a holographic man form of an artificial intelligence appeared. I scanned the device and it's like nothing on any database. The liquid seems to be what makes the portals. The gun just lets you control where you go, Secundo the AI buddy said. Too bad, the controls of the device is busted, Paige said, showing Izuku the side of the gun that has what looks like a gunshot damage. The only thing that still works is the trigger that opens portals. Seems whoever used it last was being shot at, Secundo said. I didn't see any blood around when I picked it up, Izuku said. Sorry to tell you this, but if you are going to use it to go home, you're going to have to do it the hard way. Going from one world to another and hoping it's the right one, or one where someone can help you, Paige said. Well, you can stay, this is an orphanage after all, a young woman named Jade said. You're going to need to learn how to survive and fight. No telling what you would meet, Paige said. Thanks. How can I repay you? Izuku said. Think nothing of it, kid, Jade said, rubbing Izuku's hair. But this smartphone, as you call it, Sekundo said, having scanned the device and found lots of things that are very advanced that he has never seen before. It's odd we have spaceships and AI like me but have nothing like a smartphone. I can make some blueprints and sell it to some interested parties and get some much needed money. Sure, go ahead, it's the least I can do for your help, Izuku said. Wander over yonder. Sorry we couldn't help you, Sylvia said as she hugs Izuku, who is preparing to open a portal. I'm going to miss you too, Izuku said. Don't be sad that it's the end, be happy it happened, Wander said to Izuku as he gives Izuku a fruit basket as a going-away gift. It's been a pleasure, Sekundo said, who is a copy of the one that Jade gave him. He came with the synthetical atomic compressor, or SAC for short, as a backpack-like object used to carry other items, which is used to digitalize objects and compress their atomic structure and being able to carry them around without hindrance. Within the SAC, the user can then undigitalize the object into the real world again for use. I will, Izuku said, leaving. Breath of Fire 3. Izuku is in a lab talking to a woman with long ears and have massive red hair in 2 ponytails. This is amazing, a portal gun. Being able to travel from one world to another, right honey, Momo said and looks at the small robot with her. Dick Tracy from the rooftop. Izuku watch as the police with Dick Tracy armed with a Tommy gun is trading bullets with Big Boy's men. Time to go, Sekundo said. Just leave like that? Izuku asked. Yes, I know, but you done all you can. You can't see your mom if you're dead, Sekundo said. Right, Izuku said, hoping what he did would help out Tracy. It's the least he could do for what he done for him. Flash Gordon. You're getting better, Flash said as he trains Izuku in the art of sword play. This is different from what I imagine, Izuku said, trading blows with a wooden sword. Sure, there's no fancy showy moves, but unlike that anime thing you talk about, bang, Flash said as he makes a handgun with his free hand. The people around here aren't into not using a gun. My Little Pony. When were you going to tell me you had a human in your room? Celestia asked, looming over her much smaller daughter and Izuku. The Shadow Bolts, who also knew Sunset was hiding a boy in her room, are cowering like Izuku, while Sunset just met her mother's glaze. Never, Sunset said bluntly as she and her mom aren't in a good relationship. You can't keep something like this a secret, Celestia said. And how long were you going to keep me from finding out you're my mom? Sunset snaps back. Subnautica. Izuku walks through an old human base extending down into the alien ocean, that's built on an island with an alien building. The one who built the base is long gone, and according to the computer it's been 6 years since the person left. With the farm he made having grown wild, which Izuku collected samples of and stored away. There was a deadly plague on the planet but is now gone, so he has no worry of spending a virus around. The fabricator of the base is still working, and he made a scanner, a builder, and other devices which Sekundo stored away, along with all the data and blueprints of all the technologies he could download. There are even plans of a spaceship if he ever needs to get into space. Tons of raw materials and old equipment that still works. And if he's stuck someplace he can always build himself a base. 1. The Hunger Games. Are you sure about this? Katniss Everdeen asked Izuku. I have to go, I still have to find a way home, Izuku said. Thank you for everything, Katniss said, hugging Izuku, who hugs her back. Terminator. Izuku could only watch as the Terminator sank into the vat of molten metal, destroying itself to prevent the dark future it came from. Trigun. You need to leave, it's between me and my brother, Vosh said to Izuku as he walks off to the spot of green in the distance. Thank you for all you done for me, Izuku said, leaving the brothers to their fated duel. Rainbow Bright is facing off with Dark Princess as she fires blast of dark energy from her staff. Rainbow is using her rainbow beams to counter the shots fired at her. A blast from a white energy beam shot the staff out of Dark Princess' hands. Izuku. Rainbow Bright shouted, seeing Izuku in the armor of the Sentinel of Light. Got the armor to work, Izuku said. You really think you two can defeat me? Dark Princess growled. Who said I was alone? Izuku said as Queen Rainbow revealed herself. You attack my daughter because you know you're no match for me, Queen Rainbow said, looking at the now fearful Dark Princess. Land of Oz. The army of revolt ran away screaming as a flood of mice scared them off. Wow, I thought that only worked in old cartoons, Izuku said. Get away, the young girl, Ginger, the leader of the army, shouted as she and a number of her soldiers are clinging to a tree. Yes, but now the city is infested with mice, Scarecrow said. I didn't know what else to do. I tried talking with them and the girls just acted strange, Izuku said. Well, for some reason the girls all like you for some reason, Jack Pumpkinhead said. No, it's better this way. They wanted to do things with Izuku, Princess Ozma said, holding a mouse in her hand. Besides, they're cute. Jurassic Park. Izuku from the fence watched as the cows of the ranch mingled with the group of Sinoceratops. Night of the Lepus. Izuku on a motorcycle is racing away as a horde of giant killer rabbits are chasing after him. He's firing the stasis rifle to freeze one of the rabbits and causing others to run into the frozen rabbit, slowing them down. Squirm. Izuku climbs onto a tree as the ground is covered in bloodworms. The screams of the people of the town he found himself in echoed into the night. Attack of the killer tomatoes. Izuku with a bat is hitting the tomatoes with faces on them that are throwing themselves at him. The entire city he found himself in is being attacked by the killer tomatoes. All under the control of Professor Gangrene and his assistant, the handsome, blonde, ever-smiling Igor Smith. Sharknado. Izuku using the repulsion cannon knocks away the flying sharks as the tornado with sharks in it destroys the city. He's been using the laser cutter to free trap people as he does what he can to help. Crow. So now, I'm going from one world to another hoping to find someone who can help me find my way home, Izuku explained as he sat in front of a campfire. That's really amazing. Sorry we can't help, Phil the woolly mammoth said, who is with the rest of his herd. It's okay, it's just nice to be in a nice safe world, Izuku said. Exclamation mark. Star versus the forces of evil. Star blasted the crystal cage Izuku is trapped in, but before he could get out, the cage repaired itself, trapping Izuku's arm, which he managed to pull free. The hole where his arm used to be sealed itself and the box began to sink into the ground, slowly crushing Izuku within. Kelly and Higgs with their swords tried breaking Izuku free. Star points her wand again but was stopped by a voice. That's not going to work again. That crystal is twice as strong now, Toffee said, regrowing his arm with his other arm having flipped the switch to sink the cage. I think I got it, Izuku said, trying to hold up the cage, as both Kelly and Higgs break their swords against the cage. Star jumps on the table and drops her wand on Toffee's plate. Fine. Take it. Now let Izuku go. Suddenly, Ludo jumps on the table and tries to take the wand, but the chicken monster catches him in his beak. Do you think I'm like Ludo? Toffee turns to the chicken. Just swallow it. The chicken swallows Ludo. Toffee pushes the wand back to Star. I don't want your wand. Destroy it. What? Star, Izuku, Kelly and Higgs all said. Toffee sports a chilling smile for a split second. Surprise, he said before going back to normal. I don't even know how, Star said. Yes, you do. It's the first spell your mother taught you, Toffee said. The whispering spell, Star said. Exactly, he said and leans forward. He's waiting. Izuku is about to be crushed by the ceiling. Both Kelly and Higgs are gripping the cage, trying to keep it up. Star. Both Kelly and Higgs pleaded as they couldn't grip the crystal cage. Star reluctantly kneels down to the wand and picks it up. I'm sorry. As Star whispers the spell to her wand, it begins to die. It turns gray, the star-shaped crystal begins to turn black, its wings disintegrate, and the millhorse emerges as a ghost. Toffee looks coldly at the scene, and Star begins to cry. The ghost whispers into Star's ear, I was never your wand. She wipes away her tears and, after a moment, looks back at Toffee. Now let Izuku go. Toffee presses a button. The cell rises back out of the ground, and a door opens in the wall. Both Kelly and Higgs grip Izuku on either side, hugging him. Star runs to the three and shoves them into the cage again, then locks herself into the cell with them. Run, Star said to Buff Frog. Oh, my babies. Buff Frog grabs the tadpoles and runs away. Okay. You really gotta stop shoving me, Izuku said as Kelly and Higgs glared at Star. It's not over, Star said. Toffee looks maliciously at the wand, also waiting for something to happen. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, Toffee said to the monsters around him. The wand shakes and glows, ready to detonate. The big chicken lays an egg and runs away. The rest of the monsters also escape. Toffee grins as the wand nears its explosion. The wand finally blows up, blasting the castle to pieces, with only Star and the others left thanks to the cage protecting them. We happy few. The tanks are fakes and all the children were taken, leaving just a few young people left here, Izuku said to Oliver, Ollie, Starkey as both of them sat at a fire. That's what happened, Oliver said, ashamed of the past. What of the rest of the country? Izuku asked. I have no idea. Wellington Wells is completely cut off, Oliver said. From what I can see, this place is going to fall apart once there's no more food, Izuku said, having seen the ruined farm fields. Cut off from the rest of the world, and this place won't last much longer no matter how much joy they use, Oliver said. Tooth and tail. So let me get this straight, the other animals around here all choose to eat meat even if it comes from other sapient beings. They won't eat fish or plants. Rather meat even if it comes from each other? Izuku asked the pigman he had stumbled into. Yes, and they now fighting a war and eating the dead, the pigman said. Which is being masterminded by your people to wipe them all out at once after exhausting themselves. Because your people are their main choice of food as you're the only ones who choose to eat vegetables, Izuku said. Think it's bad? The pigman asked. No, not my right to pass judgment. This world isn't mine. I don't have to live in it, Izuku said. Little nightmares. 6 help me. Izuku shouted, clinging to the ledge of what looks like a flesh pit. The girl in the yellow raincoat looks down at him, and walks away, leaving Izuku, who lost his grip and falls. Izuku pulls out the portal gun and opens a portal that he falls into. Harriet the spy. I knew it. Harriet the self-proclaimed spy shouted, pointing at Izuku, who is under the docks next to his seamoth. You're an agent from a spy network. It's more complex than that, Izuku said, getting into the seamoth to get back to base and teleport to the next world. Oh no you don't, Harriet said as she jumps into the cockpit with Izuku and lands on his lap, fighting to keep him off of the controls. Harriet, Sport and Janie shouted, having followed their friend. What's going on? Marion Hawthorne shouted as she and her 2 friends also followed. Izuku, seeing the kids getting the attention of several adults, closed the hatch and took off for deep water with Harriet still on his lap. Unless you want to see if you can make it up to the surface before running out of air, stop, Izuku said, fighting Harriet for the controls. Harriet looks around, seeing how deep they already are, and stops. So are we going to meet up with a Russian sub? Harriet asked. No, I'm not any agent. I just needed some time to relax and this world was good as any, Izuku said. This world? Harriet asked as her eyes widen as she sees an underwater base. Get ready to have your world wide be destroyed, Izuku said, bringing the seamoth to the moonpool. Nancy drew, incredible, Nancy said, having followed the mysterious Izuku around and discover him having an underwater base. Made it myself, Izuku said. With my help, Secundo said. The technology here will advance your world by centuries. The bioreactor alone can help solve power supply and the trash disposal problems, Izuku said. You said this world, Nancy said, looking at Izuku. You're putting the pieces together, Izuku said. Enola Holmes. This fruit, Enola said, picking a lantern fruit from the lantern tree, feeling how warm it is. It's safe to eat, Izuku said. Enola looks at him before taking a bite. It's warm instead of being cold. In cold places it helps to keep you warm, Izuku said. You're from another world, aren't you? Enola said. Correct, I am. I am from an Earth, but just not this one, Izuku said. What do you mean by that? Enola said. Right, this is the 1800s and before World of the Wars was written, Izuku said, knowing he will have to explain everything, unlike the last 2 times a girl detective found out about his secret, and in a row even. DC superhero girls. The world you're from has about 80% having some form of power? Batgirl asked, playing with the scanner that she made using the fabricator that Izuku made and place on the wall of their hangout, which is a basement. Yes, and heroes have agencies that pays the heroes and cover expenses, Izuku said. That must be nice. We don't have anything like that around here, Green Lantern said. Do you heroes get paid by bounties? Izuku asked. No, Supergirl said. So you're all just doing it for free? Izuku asked. Pretty much, Zatanna said. So how do you make money to live off of? Izuku asked. We have real jobs, Bumblebee said. You just risk your lives for nothing and get nothing out of it? Izuku asked, causing the girls to look at each other. You know he does have a point. We do need money for food and shelter, Batgirl said, as they all do still depend on their parents for money. Sell out and have merchandise of us? Supergirl suggested. Oh, I can have my own action figures, Bumblebee said, her eyes lighting up. And dolls that girls can both play dress up and kick butt with, Batgirl adds. Holly Hobby and friends. Holly and her friends, Amy Morris and Carrie Baker, watch as the boy they had befriend Izuku walk into a green portal that closed behind him. Amy turns to Holly. And you think aliens are silly? Ha! Explain how Izuku just disappeared. Xiaolin Showdown. Izuku found himself in a prison cell with 3 old people and a young boy with a small dragon. The boy has frozen himself to get to the future and meet with his future self, not thinking about how could he meet his future self if he was frozen for all that time. Which the boy said that he didn't think it through. The dragon revealed that they have magic items called Shen Gong Wu, and with them they could escape and get a time-traveling one to get back to the past. Izuku agreed to help them and used the energy blaster he gotten from the superhero world on the robots. They fought their way to the room where the other Shen Gong Wu are kept inside a big safe. Izuku was going to use his laser cutter, but there's a sticky note of the combo on the side. The monks got the timed Shen Gong Wu, while Izuku got Secundo to gather all the magic items and storing them as data. Hearing the battle going outside, Izuku could only watch as the 3 old monks are killed by the giant robots and the young monk and dragon disappearing. Izuku blasted the old villain wearing a diaper off of the robot he's standing on before he leaves by a portal. Old man Jake on the ground yells for the robots to get Izuku and didn't even see one of his robots' foot stepping down on him as he lays on the floor, ending his reign of evil once and for all. The worst witch Mildred Hubble and her friends Maud Moonshine and Enid Nightshade are gathered around the table helping Izuku to figure out what the magic Shen Gong Wu do. It must be amazing to travel from one new world after another, Mildred said. It is, but the green stuff for the portal gun is being used up with each portal I make. If I can't find a way home by then, I'm stuck in whatever world I end up in when it's empty or gets broken, Izuku said. The teachers have no idea what to make of the chemical makeup of the green stuff, Maud said. Too bad we can't just take a sample, Enid said. No, it's too precious to waste. The only sample was for the smart heroes in the superhero world with alien and super science, and even they can't figure it out, Izuku said. L's using the Shen Gong Wu ring of the 9 dragons, split L into 7 separate bodies. Each of them having a different hair color, pink, yellow, brown, green, blue, purple, and white. The ring normally would multiplies the user into as many as 9 people, but it also divides up the user's skills and mental prowess among all the clones. But because each of L's 6 other personalities being her sisters, as their birth mother was going to have 7 babies at once, White merge all of them together to form one body with 7 different minds in it. So now there are 7 bodies for the 7 sisters that they were always meant to be. Her friends and family couldn't believe what they had seen. They had followed Elle as she ran to talk to Izuku before he left. He had showed up one day and befriended Elle and her friends. But then suddenly told them that he's going home and left Elle a gift. What did you do? Elle Pink asked, looking around at each of her sisters. Gave you all a chance of life with a body of each of your own. I thought that you just had split personalities, but then you told me that you were supposed to have 6 other sisters who all merged with you. So I used magic to give you all bodies of your own, Izuku said. We have bodies of our own? Blue asked. Wait, you're saying that Elle used to be 7 but merged into 1 and you gave them each a body now? Elle's mom asked, looking at her now 7 daughters. Yes. Pink the heart, blue the cunning, brown the shy, yellow the brave, green the survivor, purple the wild one, and white the caring one, Izuku said to the sisters. And you're just leaving like that? Brown asked, shaking as she stares at Izuku, who showed up as she and her sisters learned about each other and helped them. I need to find a way home. Don't be sad, our time together has come to an end. Be happy it happened. I know I will never regret being your friend. Izuku smiled and opened a portal and walked through it. Cleopatra in space. I was named after my ancestor who, thanks to time travel, ended up here and went back to the past, creating a stable time loop thing. Mom says that I'm like her. Cleopatra explains to Izuku as she shows him the pictures of her mom younger and her famous namesake who began the Nile Empire back on Earth. Am I part of this, the past Cleopatra writing about what happened now thing? Izuku asked, his mind racing in how time travel works. No, there's nothing about you, Cleopatra said. The scientists are researching the portal gun and see if that can't figure out how to send you back home. It's the least we can do with you helping me. Who were those guys? Izuku asked. What's left of Octavian's forces? With their boss gone, the remaining forces under him went to war with each other. Mom thought she had taken care of them, but a new leader has emerged and got the old robot factories up and running again, Cleopatra said. Well, the technology that I picked up on my travels should help, Izuku said. They are, and you can learn some things too while you're here, Cleopatra said. Kid Cosmic as Herodias is breaking away moving on. Izuku carried Papa G over to the portal as Kid and Joe reached out for them. My life as a teenage robot. Sorry young man, but I'm a robot expert, not a dimensional one, Dr. Wakeman said to Izuku. Also, why are Jenny's sisters are in the basement, and even if they are flaw prototypes, why not you just upgrade them? Izuku asked. Yeah, Mom, Jenny said, staring at her mom while her mom sweated. Brutal legend. A good roadie knows his whole job is to make someone else look good. Keep someone else safe. Help someone else do what they were put here to do. A good roadie stays out of the spotlight. If he's doing right, you don't even know he's there. And once in a while he might step on the stage to fix a problem. To set something right. And before you even realize he was there, or what he did, he's gone. Eddie Riggs said to Izuku, who was working backstage to earn some money. Gem, you are one hot AI, Secundo said, who was making the moves on Synergy, who responded by slapping him. You tried too hard, Jerrica Benton said, shaking her head. Agent Elvis, okay, you're all set to go, Izuku said, helping a young Elvis Presley in setting up his sound equipment. Thanks, this will be my first real show, Elvis said. Well, I got everything working, you just need to do your thing, Izuku said. Right kid, Elvis said, and like in so many other worlds began his rise as a music legend. Lollyrock. Both Iris and Izuku walk onto a stage to begin their number. A swing is lowered to the stage and Iris gets on it, and Izuku walks up to her and begins to sing to her. You know I want you, it's not a secret I try to hide. I know you want me, so don't keep saying our hands are tied. You claim it's not in the cards and fate is pulling you miles away. And out of reach from me, but you're here in my heart. So who can stop me if I decide that you're my destiny? Iris blushes as she starts swinging in circles around the ring, and is stopped by Izuku as he gets up close and personal to her, singing out his heart out to her, and she begins to swing around again. What if we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing could keep us apart, you'd be the one I was meant to find. It's up to you, and it's up to me, no one can say what we get to be. So why don't we rewrite the stars? Maybe the world could be ours. Tonight Iris begins to sing as she swings around in circles around Izuku, while he watches her perform in the air. You think it's easy, you think I don't want to run to you. But there are mountains and there are doors that we can't walk through. I know you're wondering why, because we're able to be just you and me within these walls, but when we go outside, you're gonna wake up and see that it was hopeless after all. Iris sings hanging upside down and faces Izuku. The swing is raised as she begins to swing around and sings while looking down at him. No one can rewrite the stars, how can you say you'll be mine? Everything keeps us apart and I'm not the one you were meant to find. It's not up to you, it's not up to me when everyone tells us what we can be. How can we rewrite the stars? Say that the world can be ours. Tonight Izuku leaps up into the air and catches Iris in his arms and held her to his body as both of them began to sing. All I want is to fly with you, all I want is to fall with you. So just give me all of you, it feels impossible, it's not impossible. Is it impossible? Say that it's possible. Izuku holds Iris's hand as he swings her around in the air as they sing together, and slowly fall to the ground. How do we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing can keep us apart, cause you are the one I was meant to find. It's up to you and it's up to me, no one can say what we get to be. And why don't we rewrite the stars, changing the world to be ours? They landed together holding hands, but Iris lets go and walks away singing. You know I want you, it's not a secret I try to hide. But I can't have you, we're bound to break and my hands are tied. The lights fade and Izuku leaves the stage. Wall, Izuku searches through the piles of trash for anything useful. He's seeing a dust storm heading his way and heads back to his home base, a robot carrier truck. which is also home to the only active robot left, has developed a personality. Wall-E remains active by salvaging parts from other inactive robots and lives with his pet cockroach. There is now a base built around the truck which Izuku made for his robot friend. Entering the base, Izuku puts down the stuff he has collected and sees that Wall-E is already there. The fabricator has allowed him to make some repairs on Wall-E and given him a better power supply. But he has no idea what he can actually do without risking erasing the personality Wall-E has developed. But at least he has given Wall-E an extended lifespan. Iron Giant Izuku watches as the Iron Giant flies into the missile, going out as a true hero. AI. Artificial Intelligence Izuku is in the forest where he has made camp where the old obsolete mechas have gathered around. Izuku is fixing the robots as best as he can. Secundo is also fixing up any faulty programming as well. Castle in the Sky Izuku explores the ruins of the floating city. Secundo is talking with the sole robot that's still working. Learning that it's the last of an entire civilization built on floating islands. And the reason why it's the last one, as the people who once lived here couldn't have children and had to return to the ground to do so. Kiki's delivery service Izuku walks through the town and sees Kiki flying and making her delivers. She has become quite the local hero after the blimp thing. Winx Club, Sphere of Yun. Izuku shouted as he traps the Tricks, Darcy, Icy, and Stormy in an impervious transparent sphere. The magic item also transfers powers and possessions from the prisoner to the user. Namely, he takes their magic and places them into a magic wand he picked up from the witch school. What did you do? Icy asked, her face lock in horror as she couldn't feel her magic like her sisters. I took away your magic so that you three can never harm anyone again, Izuku said, holding the wand he has placed the magic within. All in here and gone. Izuku tossed the wand into one of the fires that the witch sisters started as they attacked the city. The sisters pounded on their prison as they watched their magic be destroyed as the wand burns. Dino Wars Izuku ducks for cover as the Brachiocelosaurus, one of the many biologically engineered living weapons, walks past his hiding spot. The super advanced dinosaur race, the Triassian, have come back to Earth to reclaim their ancient home. They found humans having taken over and now they're trying to wipe out the humans to retake their planet. Kim Possible. I look up everyone I know and there's no one who can even come close to know how the portal machine works. There was a memory history of the worlds that been open, but with it being destroyed with just about everything else. There's nothing I can do, Wade said to Izuku. Too bad you haven't gone to Marvel Comics. There's plenty of heroes there who are super smart, Ron said. I've been to a superhero world already and none of the smart heroes could help either. There was this imp who could have helped me, but he rather watched the show, as he calls it, Izuku said. Before you go, you can have my old hero gear. I won't be needing them for a very long time, Kim said, patting her heavily pregnant belly. Carmen Sandiego. Carmen is a tall, beautiful young woman of Argentinian descent, with rakuta skin and a slender yet athletic physique, which forms into rather shapely and curvy hips. She sports wavy, thick, voluminous and hip-length maroon-red hair with bangs, blue-gray eyes with small yet prominent eyelashes, thick black brows, and is always seen wearing red lipstick. In her signature large red fedora hat and trench coat, she made an eye-catching figure. She's running from the vile agents firing their machine guns at her as she escapes. She held a steel briefcase and held it tight as she raced across the rooftops and leap off of the last building on the side of a cliff face. The agents were calling it in that she jump into the valley below, but a flying craft suddenly zoom away. Izuku, piloting the Silver Manta Ray, had a hard time doing so as Carmen took over and piloting the craft, while she's sitting on his lap. Carmen, I can just move out of the way, Izuku said, blushing. Nah, I'm comfortable, Carmen said, pressing herself down on Izuku. You're very comfortable to sit on. Revolutionary girl Utina from the tallest building of Odori Academy. Izuku watched the fleeing forms of Utina and Anthe, leaving the world that Akio made in hopes of regaining the power of Dios. Other students and staff are fleeing too as the academy is in flames from the battle. Izuku turned to Akio, who is crushed by a pillar that has pinned him to a wall. The moment the pillar is moved, he dies. Look upon me, Izuku. This is the future that you will be if you continue on as you do, Akio said. I will never be like you, Izuku said. I once was a hero who tried to save everyone. Even with my power I couldn't save everyone. Yet people and myself still expected me to be the prefect hero, the prefect prince. That broke me. And when my dear sister tried to get me to rest, the people impaled Anthe and burned her as a witch for denying them me, Akio explains. And that's how you came to be, Izuku said. Don't try to save everyone, or be something you're not. Don't live to some impossible standards that no one can live up to, so that others can look up to instead of trying to be. Instead, I tried and look at what I became in the end, trying to be what everyone wanted me to be, Akio said. I will, Izuku said as the building started to fall as the fire destroyed the supports that kept the building up. Defenders of Dynatron City, so this mad doctor wants to take control of the city? Izuku asked using a laser gun to help the local heroes, Jet Headstrong, Buzzsaw Girl, Toolbox, Ms. Megawatt, Monkey Kid, and Radium Dog. He does this kind of thing at least once a month, Monkey Kid said also using a laser gun that Izuku gave him to fight off the robots. Bobo Izuku could only watch as Bobo faced off against one of the minions of the big bad who wants to make everyone bald. Facing him in a battle of drag show, sing off, while dress as lesbian, mermaid, werewolf, man bear pigs, while having a tea party. Is this normal? Izuku asked Beauty. Sadly, yes, Beauty said. Fallout on top of a skyscraper is the USS Constitution, one of the original 6 warships built after the United States became its own country, which has 4 rockets strapped to it, allowing it to fly while it has the power to do so. The eye of Dashi is fitted and the power levels are all green, Dr. Mobius said to Izuku, who is now in a synth body. Ed E flew over to Izuku and made a series of beeping sounds. Okay, it's time to leave, Izuku said. All robot crew are on board, Secundo said. Brace yourselves, Izuku said as the rockets lit up and sent the wooden ship flying and into the green portal. Sailor Moon. Izuku is recovering, but how did you make something so toxic out of just normal ingredients in the kitchen? Dr. Mobius asked a shame-faced Usagi who is standing with her mother Serenity. Roxy took one sniff of that stuff and ran away. Usagi, you shouldn't try cooking when you don't know how, Serenity said, rubbing her head. You should try making sandwiches instead. Very simple and anyone can make a sandwich, Dr. Mobius said. What's a sandwich? Usagi asked. No one has ever cut a loaf of bread in 2 and put something between the 2? Dr. Mobius asked. No, Serenity said, having never seen a dish like that. Come with me to the kitchen. I love making sandwiches, Dr. Mobius said. 3. Senran Kagura. Izuku, riding on tow, is racing for the ship offshore. Behind him are a horde of high school ninja girls or kunoichis, from all of the ninja schools. All fighting to get him and take him back to their school where he'd be made to reveal his secrets. Which is what he thinks the girls are after. It is, but the girls also want him. The girls all have some very interesting ways to get him to talk, no matter how long they have to do it. They wouldn't use pain or anything else like that, they're going to overload him with sheer pleasure. Which the busty ninjas girls all wanted to do once they get their hands on the one guy who doesn't see them as a sex object. Taking turns and letting him rest while at least 2 of them are always with him and pressing their bodies against him. Making sure he's fed and clean, while they work to make him talk about all of his wonderful toys, which would give them an edge against their rival schools. Desert Punk. Izuku, using the Orb of Tournami, began refilling the dried seabed. Using the Eye of Dashi to power up the orb, the flood of water came out in metric tons. After a week or so the desert world will have water again. Dr. Mobius wanted to stay and see if he could figure out where all the water went to, hacking into the computer systems that are still in operations to learn what happened to cause all the water to go away. Dragon hunters Zoria watch as the harpoons struck the dragon and exploded, killing it. And like how it's done with whale hunting, the dragon is reeled in and the flying ship lands so that the body could be cut up. Another bounty, Izuku said to Zoria said. If you stick around things would be much easier, Zoria said. No, I still need to find home, Izuku said. Let's head back to the tavern so you can say goodbye to everyone, Zoria said. Yeah, it'd be nice to see them before we head off, Izuku said. Dave the Diver, Dredge, Godzilla. Izuku sat in Bancho Sushi, enjoying the food in the restaurant. He's sharing stories with Dave of his adventures and Dave is sharing the undersea adventures he had. From the nights where the red fog appears and strange sea life appears and how Godzilla had appeared and had a battle. Dave also likes the builder device Izuku gave him, allowing him to make his own underwater base, and has made his own seamouth using the stuff he normally finds. and Dave gave Izuku some of the stuff he's been finding to show thanks for what he has done for him. No matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular. Izuku, who had befriended her, told her he was leaving and flew off on a rainbow into the bay where an old wooden sail ship just appeared. Tomoko Kuroki looks up as the wooden ship rose out of the water by 4 big rockets. She and the other people watched as the ship flew off and a green portal opened and like that it was gone. She was numb as she walks home as she was a part of something out of a manga, but no one would ever believe she was a part of it. When she got home, a package was there waiting for her. A box in English of a large toy robot called a Mr. Handy. Tomoko's world would never be the same after she puts together and turns the robot on. Song of the Deep. Marin hugs Izuku, saying goodbye to the boy who helped her to rescue her father. Thank you for everything, Marin said. I help where I can. And don't be sad it's the end, be happy it happened at all, Izuku said, leaving Marin and her father behind. Cross Ange. Rondo of angels and dragons bursting out of the smoke came the warship Constitution. The ship is heavily damaged from the battle and most of the robot crew destroyed. Izuku knew what he had to do. To save the friends he made in this world. End embryo. Izuku shouted over the comm channel as he fires Constitution's rockets at maximum power, heading straight for the giant robot controlled by Embryo that has been giving Ange and Tusk a hard time. Izuku opens a portal behind the giant robot and rams it and the ship into it. The friends he made all shouted or gasped, seeing him and his robot crew disappearing into the green portal. And cutting Embryo off from his controlled robot, leaving him alone and without any minions. The Norma and dragons all held a ceremony for all of their lost friends and the young boy who touched them all. Ruby Gilman, teenage Kraken Ruby, ran out of her house hearing a crash, and saw the wreckage of a large wooden sail ship having crashed into the cliffside. She leaps into the sea and transforms into her full Kraken form. Gathering the pieces, she placed them on shore and was surprised finding what looks like robots being the crew. Ruby spotted a boy and a man in the water and she grabbed them and placed them on the beach. Ruby tried pulling the ship onto shore but couldn't move it on her own. Suddenly the ship moved as her mom in her Kraken form helped her to drag the ship onto the beach. While they were doing that, Ruby's father and brother are helping the 2 survivors of the ship, gathering a crowd of people of their town. Mom, look, Ruby said, seeing what was under the ship. Is that a robot? Agatha asked, seeing the broken giant robot. Stardew Valley. Izuku was alone again, but for Secundo, leaving the rest of his crew in Ruby's world. The doctor was already raising the standards of life with the technology that they have gathered in other worlds. He couldn't travel with the others anymore as the green fluid is running out and the large portals used more of the green stuff. But he knows that they're in good hands with Ruby. He lost many of his stuff, but he has learned to make do with what he has and what he can find. Currently he's at a fair that a small town had set up, luring tourists. The Smurfs? Wait, so you all say Smurf, replacing it with another world? Izuku asked. Yes, it's just something we do, Papa Smurf said. For outsiders it takes some time to get used to, Smurfwillow adds. Monster High. Thank you for everything, Claudine Wolf said to Izuku, who helped free her mom and brother from Behem. What are friends for? Izuku said, saying his goodbyes to the monster friends he made. I hope you get home soon, Claudine said. I hope so too, Izuku said, opening a portal and leaving other friends he made behind. Owl House. You are beyond redemption, Izuku said to Belos as he melted in the boiling rain. With Luz at his side as they watch him die. No, I'm good. Belos screamed as he melted. No, you're a monster who dies a sad, pathetic death. Be forgotten, Izuku said as he watches the monster dies for good. And held back Ida and the others so that they wouldn't give him a quicker death. Once the puddle that was Belos stopped moving, Izuku blasted it with his laser gun, reducing it to ash. So that this death would be final. Amphibia. Izuku, Marcy, Anne and Sasha shouted as he shoves Marcy out of the way and is impaled by King Andreas's energy sword instead. You just have to get in the way, King Andreas said as he pulls out the sword and grabs Izuku in his hand and tosses him out of the window. As Izuku falls, he pulls out the portal gun and opens a portal, knowing the girls can handle things from here. Frank and Fran. Izuku lays on a bed, recovering from the operation that brought him back to life. His doctor Fran Madaraki looks over his readings, making sure he's stable. Her sister Veronica is talking with Secundo, who promised to download the data he has of all the advanced medical equipment he has picked up as soon as Izuku wakes up and there isn't anything wrong with him. As he had looked up Fran online and saw what she's willing to do to keep anyone alive. Avatar. The Last Airbender, so this is goodbye, Azula said to Izuku, who she picked up as she was hunting down Aang. Izuku in return made all of this possible as he helped in ending the war, finding her mother and taking down her father. Her mother is reigning as queen while her brother and Mai prepared themselves to take over once they're ready. She still can't believe all of this happened because of Izuku. Yes, but don't be sad that it ended, be happy that it happened at all, Izuku said. You do know how corny that sounds, right? Azula asked. Wander taught me that. Everything ends eventually, but for the things that brought you joy, be happy it happened, Izuku said. You're right about that. If you didn't come to my world, who knows what would have happened, Azula said, watching as Izuku left her world behind. And later, after he's gone, she found out the dress and necklace that was in her room was from him, making her think he left because she rejected him. Danny Phantom, I'm the master of time, not portals to other dimensions, Clockwork said to Izuku. So you can't just check to see if he does get back? Donnie asked, who is now the adopted daughter of Jack and Maddie, who learned about her, and is with her big brother Danny. Yes, I can see timelines where you and Danny learned Izuku made it back, but also ones where that never happened, Clockwork said. Like in Marvel, where Doctor Strange, who has a time stone, could see many possibilities, Izuku said. Yes, and so many ways that it happens. The portal gun opens worlds at random, Clockwork said. Thank you, Izuku said, knowing that at least in some timelines he does make it back and even meet up with his friends he made. Hilda. There are ways to open a portal to another dimension, but unless you know where you're going, it'd be no different than how you're traveling now, Matilda. Tildy, Pilquist explains to Izuku. Well, it was worth a shot, Frida said. Can anyone just learn the spell? Izuku's portal gun is running low on the green stuff, Hilda said. It's hard even for someone like me, Matilda said. I will just have to hope I can find a way home before I run out, Izuku said, looking at the quarter of the green portal fluid left in the gun. Darkwing Duck. That's it, you need to be prepared for anything, Darkwing Duck said, watching Izuku do the breakfast training course. Izuku squeezed the 3 oranges and his breakfast of 2 sunny-side eggs, cereal, buttered toast, grapefruit, was completed. Wait, where's the milk? Izuku asked. The fridge was sprung up in the air and would have landed on Darkwing if Izuku hadn't pulled him out of the way. I really need to change that, it keeps on springing late and lands where it wants, Darkwing said. Blue Falcon and Dynamite. Izuku dodged out of the way as another bomb was tossed at him by his newest mentor. Don't think I'm going to go easy on you, kid. Fighting criminals who don't care if you are just a kid isn't for the faint of heart, Blue Falcon said. Toxic Crusaders. So all of you had toxic waste transforming you into what you are now? Izuku asked the group of toxic waste theme heroes. Isn't that happens in your dimension? Toxic Crusader asked. No, Izuku answers. The Ghost and Molly McGee. Hope you can find your home, Molly said as she, Libby Stein-Torres, and Andrea Davenport hugged Izuku. I hope as well, Izuku said, saying goodbye to more friends he has made while searching for home. Stripperella. You're a superheroine and a stripper? Izuku asked the bombshell blonde. I am, just like my brother, Erotica Jones said. Miraculous. Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. Izuku stands in front of the gravestone of Chloe Bourgeois, placing flowers on it. He looks behind him and sees Ladybug and the other heroes behind him. They had all came to see him after he has disappeared after the battle where Chloe was killed. So what do you want? Haven't you caused me enough grief? Izuku asked. Izuku, I'm sorry what happened to, Ladybug began but was cut off by Izuku. Knock it off, Marinette, and yes, I know it was you, and the rest of the class, Izuku said to the shock heroes. You knew? Marinette asked as she and the others all look at each other. Yeah, I know, and really using the redo time power to keep anyone from learning who you are. It's all about you and that you can do no wrong. Well, now you messed up big time and there's no redo button anymore, Izuku said. Hey now, Marinette said. No, you listen for once. You made sure that Chloe couldn't be anything but a villain. You caused her to lose hope, and even after she became a villain, she still died for me. You didn't had to hold her hand or look into her face as she died. All because you think you know the best. All because of that old guy giving you rules that he made up on the spot, Izuku said. Made up? Marinette asked. You ask the fairies and they can tell you the same, Izuku said as he pulls out the portal gun and opens a portal. What's that? Marinette asked. A portal to another world. I have no reason to stay anymore, Izuku said, leaving behind several heartbroken girls having fallen for a guy who cared more for Chloe than them. 2. The tick, spoon. The blue superhero shouted out his battle cry as he charges into the mass of villains under the command of Chairface, who is once again trying to write his name on the moon. So this is normal? Izuku asked. For us, yes, Arthur said. Megas XLR, sorry but I'm still trying to find my way back to the future, Kiva Andrew said, looking over the portal gun data. Thanks anyways, Izuku said as he plays a racing game with co-op while Jamie watches. Overwatch Winston, the super smart gorilla, looks over the portal gun with Secundo giving him all the data he has collected from the number of others geniuses who tried to figure out the gun. Izuku is with Bridget, showing her the different weapons and equipment he has picked up on the way, which would help Overwatch in the long run, with better weapons and equipment. Izuku is also getting some new equipment as well. This is all the magic stuff you have left? Bridget asked, looking over the remaining magic items that Izuku has. Eye of Dashi, Orb of Tornami, Ryo Reverso, Wings of Tanabe, Wushu Helmet, Ninja Sash, Jills of Hamachi, Silver Manta Ray. The others I either were lost or were destroyed, Izuku said. Christmas is here again. I'm sorry, I am Santa and you have been very good, but there are some wishes even I can't grant, Santa said to Izuku. But it would be nice to see other versions of us, Victoria Claus said. I just have to hold on to hope I can make it home, Izuku said, looking at the portal gun that's almost empty. You can always stay, the upgrades you made are really helping in the workload, the young daughter Sophiana Claus said. No, I need to get home, Izuku said. Stormhawks. Izuku is bringing in Master Cyclonus's meal as she works in her lab. Since ending up in her bathroom while she was using it, he's been made her personal servant. As she needs him to figure out many of the things he picked up worked, and what the portal fluid is made out of. While she has Secundo, the AI wasn't that eager to help her out, which is why she keeps Izuku around. Lark lunch is here, Izuku said, using the name she used when she pretended to be another prisoner to get close to him. Just put it there, Master Cyclonus said, working on her upgraded computer. Using the many useful technologies that Izuku had scanned over the past 2 years or more searching for a way home, Master Cyclonus has improved on the machines both for war and domestic use, raising the standards of living for all. The new bioreactors are already online and the thermal plants, giving the industry and public more power. How is it going? Izuku asked, seating the tray on a table. Lot of the work has been done by the others before me, so I'll say about a year or 3 at most. I do have other things to work on, Master Cyclonus said. Lark, when you do, going around and conquering other worlds is just a waste of resources and causes other problems, Izuku said. I'm nothing like that Newt King who stabbed you. If you have a better idea, tell me, Master Cyclonus said, looking at him. Just find worlds that are empty. I went looting on plenty of worlds that were empty for one reason or another. You just have to be careful when it's a plague or because of radiation. I had to leave those worlds fast, Izuku said. Empty worlds, Master Cyclonus said, thinking it over. It would save time and no one be fighting back. Just think about it, Lark, Izuku said. Return to your duties, Master Cyclonus said, waving him off. As he left, Master Cyclonus used the reflective surface of her computer to watch him left with a playful look on her face. Izuku would remain with her as she's his only hope of seeing his world again. There was only enough left in the portal gun for one more jump. Shiri and the princesses of Power Horde Prime, missing his right arm, stood on the bridge of his burning flagship that is now trapped in between portals after the explosion had torn it from real space. The portal gun technology would have opened so many new possibilities for him, all ruined by Izuku and those princesses. He smiled as the Secundo AI was destroyed by the energy bolt he used on Izuku's SAC. No. The bloody and wounded Izuku shouted, seeing his longtime friend destroyed in front of him. I will make you pay for ruining everything, boy. Horde Prime screamed as a jagged pipe is shoved through the back of his head and out of his right eye. Go. Hordak with a hole in his chest shouted as he pins the very much alive Horde Prime on one of the bridge consoles. He tosses Izuku the portal gun. Izuku grabs it and pulls the trigger several times, first making a small portal that grew larger as he squeezed more out of the empty gun, breaking it to get out the last few drops left in it out. He grabs the damage sack and squeezed himself into the portal, leaving Hordak to deal with his brother. "You killed us both," Horde Prime screamed. "I did something good for once." Hordak smiled as the ship blew up. "Zelda. I'm sorry, user Izuku, but all memories that I had was wiped clean. I'm back to my default setting," the AI formerly Secundo said to his new owner. "He is gone then," Izuku said sadly, as his friend is gone and a robotic AI was all that was left, having used his repair tool to repair the damage Horde Prime did, but found that all the memory banks were destroyed, leaving the AI with no personality of Secundo, just a blank AI. "I have inventoried the remaining items in the sack, as you asked," Secundo said, bringing up a display of what's left of his gear. Ryo Reverso wings of Tanabe Wushu helmet ninja sash. Jills of Hamachi, several weapons from lasers to plasma guns. A scanner, a builder, laser cutter, repair tool. As long as he has a builder he can just make some new equipment, but what's the point? He's now stuck in this fantasy world and no way home. He was lucky to be found by Link and was nursed back to health, meeting up with both Queen and Princess Zelda, and he's been sharing his technology with them. But he will never see home again. Princess Zelda watches the scene from the doorway. Later, Princess held the Triforce ready to make her wish. Izuku has prepared himself for the trip back home. It has taken them time and great effort to gather all that was needed to get the Triforce, but it's the only way to get Izuku back home. It can only be used once by one person, but it can grant any wish, and can only be used by a member of the royal family bloodline. I wish for Izuku to return back to his home dimension just after he left, and back to the age he was when he left and how he was, with all the memories he has of his adventures and all the things he has with him now, Zelda said, having memorized the wish. Zelda watched as Izuku disappeared before her, leaving her alone in the Temple of Time. She fell to her knees sobbing as he was now gone. And that what Queen Zelda found when she sensed someone use the Triforce and found her daughter sobbing. "Zelda, what have you done?" Queen Zelda asked, holding her sobbing daughter. "I wished Izuku to go back home," Princess Zelda said, sobbing into her mother's chest. My Hero Academia. Izuku found himself back in the alleyway where he first found the portal gun and began his crazy adventures through different dimensions. His body felt strange as he's now weaker. Now he's 2 years or so younger now. He wondered if it was all a dream, but saw the SAC on the ground. He picked it up and Secundo appeared in front of him. "User Izuku, is this your world?" Secundo asked. "Yes it is," Izuku said, putting the SAC in his backpack. "Connecting now," Secundo said as he links up with the internet. Izuku's phone began ringing and he let it go to voicemail. "Izuku, pick up some rice on your way home," Inko said over the phone. The first time that Izuku heard it for a very long time. "Yes, I'm home," Izuku said as he leans on the alleyway's wall and slides down. "I'm home." The camera pans out as music begins to play. Izuku comes out of the alleyway walking home. Small hands waved to me from the other side of the bridge. As a light spring rain shower began. Why didn't I return that wave? Was it because of the rain that was falling? "Take care," I muttered, and closed off my heart. Izuku looks around the place he hasn't seen for him in years. Everything was the same but different. "When the rain lets up, this gentle song will reach you. And someday you'll get to see the continuation of the dream you had." He was home, but with all that has happened to him, he wasn't the same anymore. Flowers without even a name, like I saw in my childhood, poured down in a twilight rain shower. What was it that I gave up? Was it because of the rain that was falling? Without looking back, I ran away. On that day, to never return. Izuku pulls out his old notebook that, like all of the things that he had with him at the start, was destroyed or lost. He began drawing in it, of a costume. "When the rain lets up, this gentle song will reach you. And someday you'll get to see the continuation of the dream you had." Izuku looks down at the drawing of a figure dress in a space-themed uniform with helmet, standing next to a prawn suit. It will take him time to find the materials he needs, but he can make his hero gear, and show his world a powerless hero is possible. "When the rain lets up, this gentle song will reach you. And someday you'll get to see the continuation of the dream you had." Izuku stops as he's back standing in front of his home. Smiling, he walks up the stairs and see his mother again. The gym turned movie theater, and that's the show. We did cut out lots of the boring stuff like Izuku searching for resources and all that and just got to the good stuff, Discord said, appearing on the stage again. Man, I knew Izuku is dense, but how could you miss all of that? Ponyhead said, flying to Izuku's face. I guess I was more focused on getting back home, Izuku said as the girls around him glared at him. Let's cut to the chase, Hippolyta said, using the lasso of truth again on Izuku. Which female do you love the most? All the girls stared at Izuku, as did their mothers. My mom, Izuku said, making many grumbled or giggle at the answer. Who do you love romantically who is younger and not related to you? Hippolyta asked again. I don't love them. I see all of them as my friends, Izuku said, causing all the girls to stare at him with a twitch in their eyes. Wow, so dense that you don't even know the difference between friendship and romance, Sunset said, shaking her head. And yet all the girls are in love with him, Ponyhead said, shaking her head body. So what now? Inko asked, seeing how many girls are in love with her son. Yes, that's a good question, Discord said, bringing up a picture of Izuku's head and heads of the girls all grouped in which group they came with. All the groups have one thing in common, a princess, which is why the title is named as such. All from a kingdom and now has a way to travel to this world or other worlds. With the only thing uniting the groups being Izuku. And there's the governments of this world to deal with, Izuku pointed out. Ladies, I can handle this matter. My people have protocols for dealing with less advanced civilizations, and afterwards we can have a sit down and talk with Izuku's mother about what to do with our children, Pharaoh Yosira said, taking charge. Yes, there's much to do, Queen Zelda said. Here, Master Cyclonus said, giving Izuku a computer chip. I made a copy of Secundo. Just put it in and the old memories will upload and you have your old friend back. Izuku embraced Master Cyclonus in a hug, causing the other girls to frown. Thank you, Lark, Izuku said. It's Master Cyclonus, she said, blushing but not fighting the hug. Wait, what about the other girls that Loverboy here romance and had no idea he was doing it? Ponyhead asked. Oh, you just have to wait, Discord said, winking at a wall. It's just the beginning of the story. Can't have it all happen at once, Mixiflick adds, talking to the wall. Who are they talking to? Inko asked Izuku. I'm guessing beings who like them like to watch lower-level beings like a show on TV, Izuku said. Really? There are higher-level beings who are watching us right now like a show? Ponyhead said, talking to the same wall. Alright folks, while boring talks are happening, I'll entertain you all. With the Ponyhead. A loud sound of a click was heard. All great, you did it now, Mixiflick said. You just caused the audience to turn to another channel, and I mean all of them. Which is why we all can hear the click, Discord said to a shocked Ponyhead. What? Why would they? Principal Nezu has been in many high-level talks before, but nothing like this, as he and the other school faculty and staff are sitting in on the world government's talks with the 13 rulers of different dimensional empires, worlds, or kingdoms. All here because the daughters of the rulers had all fallen for a boy in this world, Izuku Midoriya. And using hard light screens to talk to each other. The 13 rulers have all talked together and agreed that a polygamy marriage would be helpful in creating an alliance between their different worlds. Pharaoh Yosira of the Nile Galaxy Empire has been dealing with all the challenges in politics, as her empire has been around since Egypt on Earth had taken over and ruled since. Thanks to a stable time loop from the founder of the empire, Cleopatra. Her empire has protocols for dealing with less advanced civilizations, which shows as she ran rings around the Earth officials and leaders. Pharaoh Yosira is also the most powerful, as she does rule most of her galaxy and has built up her military power to make sure what happened with a pirate king Octavian didn't happen again. And thanks to them being able to travel to different worlds, they're making many advancements. The second is Queen Torrent of the Cyclonia Empire, and the most worrisome. They are very blunt in them being an evil empire and willing to do horrible things. Once given a reason to, as the Queen explained, that's what separates them from the idiotic warlords who only live for today and doesn't care what happens afterwards. Her empire has provided a higher standard of life, education, and advancements to their conquered home world. Because the higher the standards for the common citizen, higher the standard for the upper class. And the young living under that kind of world will have little reason to rebel. Which she, being the sensible one to her more heavy-handed husband, learned from Izuku. And sees him being her daughter's husband help to rein in her and get her to be more pragmatic in how she runs things. Queen Marlena Glenn of Eternia, whose world is advanced both in magic and technology. Thanks to Etheria coming back to real space, she was reunited with her long-lost daughter, the twin to her son. The two worlds are now allied together. The white class of the Masters, the elite warriors, are on All Might level and above. Queen Serenity of the Moon Kingdom is also powerful thanks to the magic crystal that lets the user do just about anything, and has allowed her family line to rule and made the planets of her solar system that were once dead rocks, being able to support life. Her kingdom is highly advanced in magic-based technology, and after Izuku pointed out that all it would take would be someone who can depower magic, they would be helpless, have gone into fixing that weakness. Then there's Celestia, the ruler of Equestria, the oldest of the queens at over 1,000. She has the power to move her solar system's star and moon around that her younger sister shares the same power with her. She can fling people into space just by thinking of it. Queen Moon of Muni rules over a kingdom of magic and are able to travel to different dimensions, as do Queen Helia of Ephedia, and Queen Marion of Domino. Also are able to travel to other dimensions and have a number of allies. Queen Zelda of the Kingdom of Hyrule, Queen Rainbow of Rainbow Land, Queen Hippolyta of the Amazons of Themyscira, and Ursa of the Fire Nation are less impressive but are all powerful in their own right. The last is Agatha Gilman of the Kraken Kingdom, which her mother still rules as its warrior queen. She admits that she isn't as powerful as the other queens, as all she can do is transform into her giant kraken as the magic trident is in her mother's hands, and has lived as a normal family on land for years. But because of the advanced technology from that retro post-Fallout world with robots and lasers, her world is quickly advancing. Who are all currently questioning if UA is even a good school for their daughters to attend to, even if Izuku wants to get into the school. Which, after investigating and speaking with past students and those who were expelled, a common trend was found: Eraserhead, Shota Aizawa being the one who expelled the most students, resulting in Queen Hippolyta being brought to the school staff room by Queen Torrent opening a portal and using the lasso of truth on the hero. I expelled the students that I would have to put effort into teaching and only kept the ones that I didn't have to work to teach, Aizawa said, forced to tell the truth. And the school just allows you to do it? Hippolyta asked. Yes, for years, Aizawa said, causing all eyes to look to Nezu, who shrinks under the stairs. And what you think of Izuku being a quirkless hero? Hippolyta asked. A waste of time, Aizawa said. Even seeing all that he has done? Hippolyta asked. Yes, Aizawa said. Because he doesn't have a quirk? Torrent asked. Yes, Aizawa said. Torrent zaps him with her staff, causing him to scream as he felt something being taken from him. What did you do? Aizawa asked. I took your quirk away. Let's see how good you are without your quirk, Torrent said as she held up a crystal. Your quirk is held here, and if it's broken there be no way for you to regain your lost quirk. Give it back, Aizawa said. Would you have done any of the things that Izuku did? Hippolyta asked. No, Aizawa said. This is a hero school, right? Torrent asked, looking at Nezu. Izuku has already proven himself to be more of a hero than what you allow to teach being what a hero should be, Hippolyta said. And any changes made is only because we revealed them for all to see. I would just fire you all and make sure you never have any position of authority over children again. And I'm the villain, Torrent said. Doesn't Izuku want to come here? Nezu asked. He's a young man surrounded by dozens of lovely young women. How hard you think it would be for them to change his mind? Especially with how bad this school is being shown. Besides, my daughter needs in being a hero so that she can be more pragmatic and not learning to be lazy and corrupt, Torrent asked and held up the crystal with the stolen quirk inside. And if he wants to have his power back, Eraserhead just has to beat Hippolyta, Torrent said. Fight her? Aizawa asked. It'd be my pleasure to break you, little man, Hippolyta said. After all, you're an experienced hero, while Izuku had to wing it while facing off against the villains he had to face, or you're not up to it, Torrent asked. No, Aizawa said, who still has the lasso of truth around him. This school has very low standards. Must be marketing and making sure only the things that make the school look good become public knowledge is the reason why the school is so rated high. But it is only in Japan. I'm sure the other schools in the other countries are just as good as the marketing makes UA out to be. As they actually put effort and not just use the repetition to be better than they really are, Torrent said. Let's go, Hippolyta said, and Torrent opened a portal to allow them to head back to the UN of this world. Later the Prime Minister of Japan rubbed his forehead, as Japan has been embarrassed in front of the world. All thanks to how the UA runs things, and what the Hero Public Safety Commission has allowed to happen. Which he has already berated them for, and now the room is silent as he took a break and think about what to do next. Wherever Izuku Midoriya goes, the girls will follow. Which said country will have the best trade deals and have better relations with the empires and kingdoms. We need to keep him here and not go to another country. I want all the other hero schools to clean house and not have a repeat of a public embarrassment of the UA to happen again. And I don't care what it will do to any agency or hero or anything else. We need to regain the lost face, or I simply have you all replace or just make you the scrap goat as you're the ones who allowed it to happen in the first place, the Prime Mistress said to the commission heads. How should we get him to stay? The female president of the commission asked. Less I know the better, but remember, with that lasso of truth they can find out anything underhanded and anything else they haven't revealed yet. And remember, the girls all going to have diplomatic immunity as the children of heads of state. They're to be treated differently, and that goes for Midoriya as well, the Prime Minister said. By the way, how is it that Midoriya spent about 2 to 3 years traveling and was wished back just after he left? Why didn't 2 to 3 years pass before the girls all came for him? An aide asked. The imp caused it to happen, the Prime Minister said. The past, Izuku, Anne, Marcy, and Sasha screamed. Time stood still as the 3 human girls lost in the world of Amphibia. Watch as the lone human boy, who has also ended up with them, was impaled by the energy sword of King Andreas, having pushed Marcy out of the way and into the portal with the Anne and the planters, but also causing her to drop the music box. You just have to get in the way, King Andreas said as he pulls out his sword and grabs Izuku in his hand and tosses him out of the window. We need to leave now, Grimes said, grabbing Sasha and fled by the bird that Marcy used. They escaped the flying castle and flew low looking for Izuku, but soon had to flee as more of the robots came after them. Not knowing that Izuku had used his teleport gun to escape to another world. And watching from his castle, King Andreas watched them fled and looks down at his blood-covered hand from when he grabbed Izuku and tossed him. Those girls are close to Izuku, King Andreas said, with the crown linking him to the core. He turns to the robots in the room. Search for his body. The robots obeyed and flew to search the ground for the body of Izuku. While King Andreas heading down to the laboratory of the castle, now that it's fully powered he can access the advanced machines again, for a backup plan. For the invasion of Earth, the robot army needs to be replenished with new robots and lots of repairs needed to be done. It has been over 1,000 years since they last been activated, and it's surprising that many of the systems still work. 1. Amphibia Earth. Finding themselves on the hood of a car, the 2 humans and the frog family of 3 ran off of the road and down the slope of the highway and into a nearby storm drain. Once they made it into the drain far enough, they caught their breath. Anne, Izuku, you think he's... Marcy asked, breaking down as the guilt of what she has done that lead all to this hits her. Maybe Sasha saved him like you did with Sprig, Anne said, trying to keep Marcy's and her own hopes up. But he was stab and toss out the, Marcy said before sobbing. Then we make sure he didn't give up his life for nothing, Anne said, her body glowing blue again. A Nile embassy was established in Japan as well as other countries of the world after talks between the different worlds ended. Which is where Izuku and his mother are currently staying at to get away from the crowds of reporters and other parties of interest. Their home was already ransacked by someone looking for the stuff that Izuku had taken from other worlds, but was scared off once the police showed up. Which is why Izuku and his mother Inko are now being housed in the Nile embassy, which is a ship that landed on the plot of land for the embassy. In their room, which is much bigger than their old home, the 2 are making themselves home, with their belongings being transported to the embassy. Izuku used the computer chip with the copy of Secundo that Master Cyclonus or Lark made. Izuku uploaded the memory into the default AI of his SAC, getting back his friend. Lark also gave him back the stuff he was forced to leave behind when he had escaped. The Daijo, a high-tech combat staff that retracts to about half its length for storage. It can channel energy, empowering its strikes after a moment's charge. And Izuku has improved on it since he first got it from Jade. A picture of him with Jade, Paige, and the 6 kids who all love at the lighthouse. There is also the big white dog named Woof. Yoa, a girl with long blue hair, pale blue skin, facial markings under her eyes, and she wears a long white dress. Zaza, a short and has pale skin and short, dark red hair that is parted over her right eye. Zaza wears a green bandana, an orange-striped long-sleeve shirt and a dark green dress. Omi a female Capra sapiens, and wears a red sweater, tight-fitting orange-striped pants and dark boots. Fane, a male Capra sapiens, wears a light brown tank top, brown striped pants and brown shoes. Pablo, a boy who is the oldest who wears circular glasses, a tank top and sporting a goatee. Kip, a boy who wears a long-sleeved, dark green shirt, blue pants with a black stripe down the side and brown loafer-type shoes. You made friends with those kids? Inko asked, looking at the picture as well as others that Secundo provided. Yes, I became friends with them during the 2 weeks I stayed there. Jade thought I should at least know how to defend myself before I left and have what I needed to survive the worst. My smartphone proved to be a big windfall for the lighthouse after Page made some arrangements with some people he knows and sold the blueprints. When I left, Hilly's was under attack by aliens called Dom Z. I hope they're okay, Izuku said, sitting on a sofa with his mom. The next item Secundo pulled out is a banjo, a gift from Wander. Wander is a true hero. He saves the day by distracting the villains who are so powerful that they use a scoreboard of how many planets they have conquered to show their ranking. You can't be a villain in that dimension without at least one planet under their control, Izuku said, plucking a tune from the banjo. The next item is a ring. The balance ring. It protects me from confusion. It's the only thing left I have from the world Momo and Honey are from. It's a fantasy world setting where magic is common and items with status effects like in games are common too, Izuku said. The next item is a green bowler hat. That came from the world of Dick Tracy, the United States, during the years where gangsters bootleg moonshine. Had to hide my green hair, Izuku said, as people in that world thought it was strange that he had green hair. You been through a lot, Inko said, picking up the hat and found a bullet hole in it. I made friends and left them as I searched for a way home, and done things just to survive that I'm not proud of, Izuku said, holding an arrow that he used to save Katniss at the cost of his innocence. Izuku, where was this taken? Inko asked, showing him a picture of Izuku with 3 kids with a giant robot. Miko Nakadai, Jack Darby, Raphael, Raph, Esquivel and Bulkhead the giant robot. I meet them while I was on the Earth that's connected to Equestria. That Earth has a secret war between 2 factions of giant robots from space, going on. There is also a USA military special forces G.I. Joes who fight against a worldwide terrorist organization, Cobra, Izuku said. A large jar made a thump sound as it was taken out of storage by Secundo, followed by 8 more jars, ranging from 3 feet tall to just foot. I thought Lark had taken all the treasures I picked up, Izuku said. She thought the jars were just junk, Secundo said. Treasures? Inko asked, walking over to the jars. There were some worlds where I found valuables like copper, silver, and gold coins. Worlds that are dead or places that are abandoned. So I helped myself to the treasures, seeing how there wasn't anyone who would miss them. I even found a treasure cave underwater and took what I could get, so that I have something to use to buy things and when I get back home, have a nest egg, Izuku said. Copper, silver, gold, coins, jewelry, gems, pearls? Inko asked as one jar is filled with pearls. Oh yeah, the world with the pearl-spitting clams, Izuku said. The movie those 2 chaos spirits showed skipped many worlds we've been to, Secundo said. A chest appeared that has rupees in it, and that's from the world where Zelda comes from. They use gemstones as money there as there's just so many of them, Izuku said. The door of their room opened, letting in Pharaoh Ysera and Cleopatra. So how you and your mom like the room? Cleopatra asked. It's bigger than our apartment, Izuku said. Is it really necessarily for us to move in here? Inko asked. I'm afraid it is. The ransacking was done by a villain who was looking for the advanced technology that Izuku has, only thanks to him hiding it well that it wasn't discovered. There are plenty of people, including governments, who want the technology you have, Izuku. And you already know what people are willing to do to get it, Ysera said. I do, Izuku said, remembering how in some worlds he had to flee as people wanted his technology. You'll be safer here with your mother, Ysera said. This group marriage, are you all okay with it? Inko asked. Met with Madame Raz and she mistakes me for Cleopatra and her for Opala, wondering why she changed her hair color as she has her father's green hair, Ysera said. Madame Raz has the ability to see the past, present and future all at once. She gets really confused, Izuku said, having dealt with the old woman before. Which means she sees a future where you and me are married, Cleopatra said. Along with the other girls, Yosira said. That too, thanks to Loverboy, Cleopatra said, giving Izuku a flat stare. I had no idea that was happening, Izuku said. This is just like so many love comedies and harems. The male lead being completely clueless, Inko said, shaking her head at how clueless Izuku is with girls. I danced naked for you. Me a princess, danced naked for you, Cleopatra said. Culture thing, Izuku said, and sweated under the glare from Cleopatra. Mom, was Dad like this? Cleopatra asked. No, as he was courting me and had to deal with the others who are also after my hand in marriage, Yosira said. You had lots of suitors? Inko asked. As Empress I am expected to have children as heirs to the empire. My husband Alexandra had many rivals to win me over, Yosira said. You're so lucky you don't have to deal with that, Cleopatra said as she planted herself on Izuku's lap, sitting sideways on him. You're so lucky I like you already. Can you get off? Izuku asked, blushing. No, Cleopatra said. There is also another matter, Yosira said as she brings up a screen showing emails from a number of high-end hero schools around the world. Which hero school do you want to go? I did wanted to go to UA, but after that live broadcast, Izuku said, remembering what Eraserhead had said about him. You already proven yourself to be more of a hero than any of those pro heroes. Better than All Might, as he hasn't saved or helped in saving the world. All he has done is beat some villains who aren't even a worldwide threat, or ones who are so powerful they can take over an entire planet by themselves, like those villains you help Wander and Sylvia take care of, Cleopatra said. Besides, it's just an overhyped school that has its reputation due to marketing. You really want to go to a school with teachers like that? 1. The school is being changed due to the public shaming, and most of the teachers and staff have their hero licenses and teaching certificates revoked. They're doing all that so that you, Izuku, won't go to another country. Which Cleopatra and the others would all follow you to, which would also be where the trade negotiations will take place and have first picks, Yosira said. I used to work in a trade firm and been getting calls and emails from my old boss and co-workers asking for some favors, Inko said. Which reminds me, don't fall for any girl around here suddenly paying you attention. There be plenty of honey traps to get close to you, Cleopatra said. But Sunset can read minds by just touching them, and there is Diana's lasso of truth, Izuku said. Yes, but it doesn't mean some government agencies won't be planting girls and others to get close to you. Or boys to try to lure us away, Cleopatra said. You think that would happen? Inko asked. It happens. People planted knowingly or unknowingly to have the outcome desired to happen. UA is being changed from top to bottom to make sure that Izuku will want to go there. There's much to gain by you staying in Japan, and the ones in charge are doing what they can to make sure you stay, Yosira said. UA Mirai Sasaki, the pro hero, Sir Night-Eye, is using his quirk to see a person's future, along with several others heroes and those who work for the government who have similar quirks to see the best possible future where Midoriya and the princesses stay in Japan. The teachers and staff who would cause trouble are just done away with and replaced by the ones who have positive interactions with Midoriya and the princesses. Everything has to be prefect so that Midoriya and the princesses won't be leaving Japan for another country. What of the other schools? The government official who is in charge, Suki asked. She's in the staff meeting room with the remaining school staff, as well have computers on video chat connected to all the other hero schools. Shiketsu High is a no-go as the school doesn't allow romantic relationships. Same goes for the all-boys and all-girls schools. Ketsubutsu Academy, Isamu High School, and some others have some success, Sir Night-Eye said. Some isn't good enough. We need to get Midoriya to want to stay in Japan. Can't have him or any of his group have a bad experience. There's too much riding on this, as well as getting back the reputation lost because of Eraserhead and the staff that allowed him to do what he wanted, Suki said, and looks at the remaining old staff of the school. Remember, your jobs are on the line. You mess up. You join the others in the employment line. Besides the general education teachers, janitors and maintenance workers, the only ones left of the old staff are Higari Meijima, Power Loader Anon Kuros, 13. Sakijiro Khan, Vlad King Ryo Inui, Hound Dog Lunch Rush. They're only allowed to stay as they're the ones who voice against how Eraserhead teaches. Who is now jobless as a teacher and as a pro hero, who also has lost his quirk, which has caused many people to be interested in the technology that allows one to steal quirks. Being used in the prison system would help keeping the most dangerous villains under control. We need to somehow get Midoriya and his girls to stay in Japan. Which we only have a 20% chance of that happening. Which is still better than what it would have been without the purging of the school. Justice High in the USA is sending over Underfist, the retired hero-turned-teacher, who is quirkless, to talk to Midoriya into going to the America. They, unlike us, have a long history of quirkless heroes. So this is what is going to happen. This school, as well as other schools, are either have quirkless students or they be shut down. The quirkless students are allowed support items and other weapons. Seeing how Midoriya was able to fight those villains in the other worlds and how heroes using gadgets works in both the United States of this world and other worlds. The hero agencies are also being told to have quirkless heroes. Can't have him being the only quirkless hero, as that only sends the message that we only want him because of what his girlfriends can provide. And that just leads him leaving, Suki said. What does happen if he leaves? Lunch Rush asked. A deep economy recession that lasts for years, and that's the best outcome me and the others have seen, Sir Night Eye said. Which is why the exam for entrance of the school will be waived off for Midoriya and his group. Seeing how he has already done more than any pro hero has done. How many heroes you know who has saved multiple worlds? Suki asked, causing the room and the video chats to the other schools to be silent. And that's why he gets in, as he has nothing to prove to any of you. In the Nile embassy, Inko felt very self-conscious of herself as she sat with Celestia, the mother of Sunset Shimmer. Her quirk telekinesis that only allows her to pull light things to her, while is the same type of power, is nothing compared to Celestia, who is able to move planets and stars with her telekinesis. And that she's also a giantess at over 9 feet tall and has a very voluptuous body that the white dress she's wearing doesn't hide at all. Breasts that are bigger than Inko's head and wide hips and an equal-sized butt and a powerful body. Her mountainous cleavage is exposed by a circular window in her dress, and the hems of her skirt went far up her thighs, revealing the sides of her powerful legs. Along with her long and lush multicolored hair that goes down to her knees, a white coat, a unicorn horn on her forehead, horse ears, tail, large white wings, made her beauty unearthly. Looking at Sunset with her busty body, who has G-cups, and how tall she is at 6 feet 11 inches, that she looks older than her age of 15. And looking at her mother, it's clear that she has lots of growing to do before she matches her mother. Both of them are alicorns, one of 4 types of their race called ponies, as their race has subspecies, all of whom can interbreed with each other. So much in fact that 2 Earth ponies can have children that are either a unicorn or Pegasus because of having a grandparent who was either. Pegasus ponies with a light but powerful body and are the smallest of the ponies. A fully grown Pegasus rarely ever grows taller than under 7 feet. They can walk on clouds and move them around, giving them some control over the weather. They also use wind magic to help them fly and create powerful gusts of wind. Unicorns, who all naturally can use magic. Their horns on their forehead helps in controlling the magical energy. Standard height is under 8 feet. They're also the weakest physically compared to the other pony races, but still much stronger than any human. Earth ponies are the largest and strongest of the pony race. Standard height is under 9 feet. They're able to use earth magic, which helps in growing plants and allows them to locate rare earths and metals. Alicorns are the perfect mix of all 3 races of ponies blended into one. Far stronger, powerful and faster, also the longest lived, with Celestia and her sister Luna being over 1,000, and still going strong. Sunset is with her ladies-in-waiting and bodyguards, the Shadowbolts. Indigo Zap leading the team made up of Sugarcoat, Sour Sweet, Lemon Zest, Sunny Flare, and Juniper Montage. The later having stayed behind to cover the others when they went to Earth to get Izuku. All of them tall and shapely like Sunset thanks to their training, that are shown off by their gray uniforms that they wear. Indigo Zap is extremely competitive and has an unbridled passion for winning, a light amber gray mare with E-cups, dark blue and cerulean hair with arctic blue streaks. Standing at 6 feet tall with a slender but powerful build. She is a Pegasus with large wings on her back, and like all Pegasus ponies she is immune to electricity, high tolerance for extreme heat and cold. She's also the fastest in flight speed. Sugarcoat, who displays an overly blunt, cynical attitude towards others, pointing out their faults without hesitation. Standing at 6 feet 5, a bluish-gray mare with F-cups and opal-gray hair with Arctic bluish-gray streaks. Hers was usually done up in twin ponytails. She's a unicorn having a horn on her forehead. She's a skilled magic user having studied with Sunset in learning magic, skilled in white magic. Lemon Zest demonstrates the behavior of a wild, obnoxious rocker girl. Standing over 7 feet tall, a grayish amaranth mare with H-cups and light pistachio hair with grayish-green and lime-green streaks. She's an earth pony with a powerful body who is super strong even for an earth pony. She also isn't a simple brute reliant on her strength alone and is in fact a highly skilled fighter. Sour Sweet has somewhat of a bipolar personality where she alternates between being sarcastic and rude, sour, and obnoxiously nice, sweet. She's a pale, light gold mare with rose-colored freckles on her cheeks, upper part of her F-cup breasts, shoulders, hips, and butt. Her hair was a mix of rose shades with a streak of aquamarine. It was usually done up in a ponytail. She's a Pegasus who stand at 6 feet 3 tall. She's skilled in multiplying the weather. Sunny Flare is the most poised of her teammates, having elegant and self-confident mannerisms, but with an arrogant, rude, and aloof demeanor. A light turquoise mare with E-cups and grayish mulberry hair with light raspberry streaks. She's a unicorn who stands at 6 feet 7 feet tall. She's a skilled magic user, skilled in black magic. Juniper Montage is the brains and the most cunning of her team, who is also greedy. Her mane is a strong cerulean with moderate Arctic blue streaks in 2 ponytails. Her coat is a pale light grayish olive. She's an earth pony who stands at over 7 feet, who has H-cups. She's a skilled tactical fighter, who doesn't just rely on her super strength. The 7 girls have Izuku and Cleopatra surrounded on another sofa, as they're spending time with him as Inko and Celestia talk about the future. Mostly about the culture norms of ponies and how they see no problem in a group marriage, and Cleopatra is learning about her future fellow wives. The pony males are fewer in number than females, and because of having their own earth in their dimension and contact between their worlds, they know they can breed with humans. Seeing how Izuku is still young and is still in his growing phase, some magical supplements and potions will help his growth. It will strengthen his body and increase his endurance and stamina, Celestia said. You're going to need it, Juniper teased Izuku. That's for sure, Cleopatra said to Izuku as she's sitting on his left while Sunset is on his right, pinning him between them. Who, like Inko, is very self-aware that the ponies are way more busty than she is, not to mention taller. So all of this is just normal? Sharing a husband? Inko asked. Yes, it is. Females of our race either form a herd around a male we all alike or like mom go on wild flings with any male, Sunset said. Sunset, Celestia said, frowning at her daughter and causing all but Sunset to cower. You and Sunset don't get along? Inko asked, looking between the two. Sadly yes, Celestia said. You're at your rebel phase? Cleopatra asked Sunset. It's more than that. For most of my life I didn't even know mom was my mom. She raised me as a student till I had enough and ran away into the magic mirror that sent me to Earth, transforming me as a human. Her other student Twilight Sparkle came for me after I stole the crown of friendship, a powerful magic item. Was forced back where, thanks to the magic surge, gave me the growth spurt I needed to become an alicorn. Which was only then and there that mom told me the truth that she's my mom. And has been trying to form a bond with me since, Sunset explained. You never told her you were her mother? Inko asked as Celestia. It's a mistake, I have been doing my best to make up for, Celestia answers. Too late for that, Sunset said. Lots of drama? Cleopatra asked Izuku. Just like how I remember, Izuku said. Next day. Inko is now talking with Queen Rainbow, the mother of Rainbow Bright, with her husband King Rainbow, along with the parents of Canary Yellow, Indigo Doll, Shy Violet, Tickled Pink, Stormy, and Moonglow, who had stayed behind to man the portal machine. All of them are seated around the dining table while the kids are together at the TV, all enjoying strawberry shortcakes. Rainbow Bright also gave Izuku the magic ring of hollow light that transforms Izuku into the Sentinel of Light. My power is controlling weather and I can ride on clouds, Stormy said as she explains her and her friends' powers to Cleopatra, even the ones who aren't there. Rainbow Bright has the power of rainbows and can purify. Red Butler has firepower and is the fastest runner. Lala Orange has earth powers and is strong. Canary Yellow has light powers and can fly. Patty O'Green has plant powers and can talk to animals. Indigo Doll has lightning powers and can teleport. Shy Violet has wind powers and is the smart one. Buddy Blue has water powers and can turn invisible. Tickle Pink has healing powers and can sense other emotions. Moonglow has darkness powers and can teleport from shadows. And you all control colors for the Earth of your dimension? Cleopatra asked. Yes, on our dimension Rainbow Land is where color comes from, Rainbow Brite said. And where did you get this strawberry cake? Cleopatra asked. From Big Apple City on our Earth, Canary Yellow said. How are Strawberry and the others? Izuku asked. She and the others are okay, Moonglow said. Strawberry? Cleopatra asked. A girl named Strawberry Shortcake, she and a bunch of others who run food trucks are all named after foods, Izuku said. Named after food? Cleopatra asked. I learned not to question it. Lots of worlds I've been to are strange from what I'm used to. A world where children act like adults and adults act like children. A world where everyone needs to wear a hat. A world where bands battle each other for fans. And I mean as in them bringing out weapons to fight other bands, Izuku said. I don't remember seeing that, Tickle Pink said. The movie skipped many worlds I visited. Like one of the worlds I stop at was a world that has sapient hamsters living in human butts, Izuku said, causing everyone to stare at him. I have so many questions, and one of them is why you said that, as I just lost my appetite, Indigo Doll said and blocked the hand from Tickle Pink who was reaching for her strawberry cake. That doesn't mean I'm not going to keep my cake for later. I can see why that wasn't shown, Shy Violet said, her mind racing in how a world like that works. But now, I can't help but wonder how a butt hamster dimension works, Rainbow Brite said. Next day Inko is talking with Moon and River Butterfly, with Kelly's and Higgs's parents. While Izuku and Cleopatra is with Star, Kelly, and Higgs in Izuku's room. Trading stories and telling Cleopatra of the things Izuku did while in Muni. Izuku went and dressed up as a girl to get into St. Olga's reform school for wayward princesses? Cleopatra asked. To save Ponyhead, and ended with Izuku causing a riot as he inspired the other princesses there to revolt. Star said, using her magic to create a slideshow showing what happened when she, Izuku, Kelly, and Higgs sneaked into the school. Then Izuku's dress got ripped off and revealed himself to be a boy. And the other princesses all first stared at him like starving wolves being presented with a big piece of meat and dog piled on him, Higgs said, with the next picture showing her and Star trying to free Izuku from the mob of princesses all wanting a piece of Izuku. I sneaked him out by pulling him into my hair, Kelly said, with the picture of her and the girls running out of the school. Too bad. Ponyhead spoke out loud about the plan and how I dressed like a girl to get in, Izuku said, as the next picture has the other princesses all running out as well after the girls. So are you going to grow as big as your mom? Cleopatra asked Kelly. That's a coin flip, as I could take after my dad in that department, Kelly said. Star, is the wand is fix? Izuku asked, seeing how the wand is still missing half of the star gem when he left. Yeah, it's fixed after dealing with Toffee, Star said, causing Izuku's eyes to widen. But he was killed in the blast, Cleopatra said. Yes, but remember he was smiling as the wand was blowing up. That's never a good sign, Kelly said. He had a backup plan and was controlling Ludo by the other half of the wand gem, Higgs said. What? Izuku asked. It's a long story, Star said. The girls told Izuku and Cleopatra what happened after Izuku left Muni. The next day, while Inko is hosting the parents who know about their daughter's secret life as superheroes. The girls Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Green Lantern, Zatanna, Supergirl, Bumblebee, and Harley Quinn are with Cleopatra and Izuku in his room. Which Cleopatra is excited meeting them, as superhero fiction is still a thing in her universe. Wait, you went on a multiverse journey in their universe of alternate universes of their world? Cleopatra asked. Yes, and Batman in most of those worlds is a prick, Izuku said. Yeah, most of them have the mindset that anyone who kills is just killer who will kill again. That any cop who killed someone to save someone else's life can't ever be trusted, Batgirl said, insulted as her dad is a cop. I used my lasso on those Batmans and they completely believed that crap, Wonder Woman said. Good thing we were sent to that world where Joker became sane and that Batman revealed that he has a self-righteous sadism streak and his vigilantism is less about justice and more about control, and it's a way of salvaging what's left of his soul, Zatanna said. 3. He's also blind to the real problems of Gotham, the massive amount of wealthy families still living in Gotham despite the city being overrun with crime and poverty is because of a real estate scam. Rich developers like Pierce Chapman buy up marked-down properties from the city in areas where Batman fights crime, then quickly flip them for profit rather than demolish them and construct something new, Green Lantern said. Really stick it to those Batmans, Supergirl said. But that Adam West, Batman was great. He has a no-killing rule because he believes that deep down people can be good if given a chance to change, Harley Quinn said. Man, I wish I could be his sidekick, he's great, Izuku said. Me too, Batgirl said, but did like that 60s version of her in that world. The next day while Inko is talking with the girl's parents, Iris, Talia, Oriana, Carissa, and Lina are with Izuku and Cleopatra in his room. So you're a lost princess who was raised on Earth and had to fight a villain to reclaim the throne? Cleopatra asked, having been told about the adventures Izuku had with the girls. Now that everything is taken care of, I've been bonding with my parents and learning how to be a princess, Iris said. We had to stop preforming to allow Iris to rest, Talia said. Iris has to learn how to be a ruler now and all that entails, Adriana adds. Been there, been raised to know how to act and all the other rules someone who is to rule needs to know, Cleopatra said. Well, it's much harder for me. I have to learn to be a princess when I had no idea I was one, Iris said. You should talk with Sunset. She didn't know she was a princess for most of her life as well, Izuku said. You think she can help? Carissa asked, knowing how much pressure Iris is under now that the kingdom is being rebuilt. Maybe, but she is very forceful and blunt as she knows she's powerful and smart, Izuku said. So she thinks she's better than other people but has the power and brains to back it up? Lina asked. Yup, and spending all that time with her, I know that for sure. She hates her mother Celestia for keeping that she's her mother from her for most of her life, and has driven her to be better than her mother in every way possible, Izuku said. I should talk with her and get some pointers, Iris said. 3. The next day Inko is with the parents of Bloom, Stella, Flora, Musa, Tekna, Aisha, and Roxy in the dining room. The girls are with Izuku and Cleopatra in his room, where the 7 fairies are once again empowering their knight with their magic, granting Izuku abilities like out of a video game. They're all standing around in a circle with Izuku in the middle, as they channel their magic into him. From Bloom, he gains an increase of his strength. Stella, he gains an increase of his speed. Flora, he gains an increase of his defense. Musa, he gains an increase of his agility. Tekna, he gains an increase of his intelligence. Aisha, he gains an increase of his spirit. Roxy, he gains an increase of his health. What does spirit do? Cleopatra asked. It protects against magic and energy attacks, Izuku said. Also the outfits, are they supposed to be so revealing and skimpy? Cleopatra asked. It's just how it is, Bloom said. At least your group are not like Sunset and her group, they're much more impressive, Cleopatra said. But then again there is Celestia who wears that dress. Celestia is very intimidating, Izuku said, remembering the first time meeting her face to face. Gee, thanks for reminding us, Stella said, not liking how Sunset and her group are bustier than they are, and her mother leaves their moms intimidated. How are things in the realms since I was around? Izuku asked. Quite after you drained the tricks of their magic. They were executed for their crimes, Tekna said. And their spirits were destroyed as well, so they can't ever come back, Aisha adds. Good, they won't be able to cause trouble anymore, Izuku said, as some people being killed is the only way it could end for them. He learned that the hard way, as some people it's just best to kill than let them live. There is also this, Bloom said, showing Izuku the Shen Gong Wu, the Mantis flip coin that allows the user to jump higher. I thought it was lost, Izuku said, as most of the Wu were either destroyed or lost. It turned up in a pawn show on Earth. I brought it and Bloom has been using it since, Roxy said. Thank you, Izuku said. So all of you combine your magic and give it to Izuku to power him up? Cleopatra asked. Yes, but it does wear off and I need to be recharged by them, Izuku said, feeling the old power boost. The next day Inko talked with the mothers of the princesses who are also the guardians of their planets. The sailor guardians in their universe are women who hold the power of their planet and act as their protectors. With the power only going to females and can be passed down from mother to daughter, many of the guardians are also the queens of their worlds. And the Moon Guardians were originally the Earth Guardian but was changed after the capital was placed on the Moon. 4. That's the reason why there's no Earth Guardian is because a past queen moved the capital to the Moon? Cleopatra asked. The Moon was originally a fortress to protect Earth but over time it became the capital, Usagi said. So where's the Guardian of Pluto? Cleopatra asked. She's an adult, Amy said. Way too old to be Izuku, without looking desperate, Ray adds. And what about her? Cleopatra asked looking at Hotaru who is 9. She can wait a few years to be of age, Michiru said. No fair, Hotaru said. And before you asks, we renamed the planet to be Uranus and we doesn't actually live on the gas planet. We live on one of the moons like the others who have gas planets, Haruka said. The gas planets are where we collect gases from, Makoto adds. Same with my empire, Cleopatra said. Also what's with the swimsuits with miniskirts? I don't get why people from other universes find what we wear strange, Minako said. The next day after dealing with so many high-class parents, dealing with Ruby's parents Agatha who works as a real estate agent and Arthur Gilman, who are sharing stories of what Izuku and Ruby were up to while he was in their world. Ruby brought along EDE who wants to once again be Izuku companion again. The beeps are binary, Cleopatra said as she's slowly getting the hang of the beeps the iBot is making. We been through a lot. EDE is an iBot prototype, albeit for an upgraded series of iBot that never went into production rather than iBots as a whole. EDE is made of the same materials used to make Hellfire armor, can carry more than 200 pounds, and his laser isn't anything to laugh at. His sensors also can detect even cloak enemies and after some upgrades and repairs I did, got him back to working at full capacity, Izuku said. Dr. Mobius has been making lots of improvements with the robots and gotten a military contract as well in search and rescue. The iBots are being used first to test the market, they've been given to ships at Oceanside, serving both as GPS and thanks to their long-range scanners can be used to find anyone who is shipwrecked or adrift at sea. And Ironsides and his crew are now a part of the Navy, Ruby said. Nice to see they're all doing well, Izuku said missing his crew. So you Krakens are the protectors of the seas against evil mermaids? Cleopatra asked. Yes, it sounds weird. Mermaids lure ships to their doom so that they can plunder the cargo. We Krakens battle them to stop that from happening. Since revealing ourselves we've been more open with the humans, Ruby said. And your mother left that all behind to live on land? Cleopatra asked. Yes, she just wanted a quiet life after the war, Ruby said. Whatever happened to that giant robot? Cleopatra asked. The government took it, Ruby said, the next day. Inko is with Ursa talking about how the misunderstanding caused Azula to have a breakdown and fell into a depression, being the reason why she traveled into the spirit world looking for a way to travel to other worlds to find Izuku. Now Azula is both happy that she didn't break Izuku's heart and angry about it. Come on, Ty Lee said urging Azula to open up to Izuku now that they have some alone time with him. You said how you wanted to be with him again, June said. You really must have missed me, Izuku said causing Azula to blush as she was a swirl of emotions. Come on just admit you love Izuku and get it over with, Cleopatra said having learned what happened after Izuku left and how it devastated Azula. It's okay we can just be like this till you're ready, Izuku said knowing the trauma that Azula has been through with her father, driving her to be prefect. Azula suddenly latched herself to Izuku and buried her face into his chest and Izuku wrapped his arms around her and held her. They stayed like that for a long time as Azula clung to Izuku like a lifeline. And the other girls let her seeing how much of a wreck she is and needs Izuku the most. The next day Inko felt intimidated by the openly evil Queen Torrent of the Cyclonia Empire, being something that the villains of this world can only dream of. She is also all for her daughter Master Cyclonus, or Lark as that's her real name but only her parents and Izuku call her that. She wants Lark to be more pragmatic and he helps to balance Lark out as her husband. His ideas he gave Lark that she followed has what allowed the Cyclonia Empire to expand and grow in power. Cleopatra and Izuku are with Lark in Izuku's room all on the sofa. Lark has been telling and showing Izuku what she has done since he left using the equipment that she took and kept from him. She's been using the Eye of Dashi to provide free power to her planet that is now ruled by her parents, and the Orb of Tornami providing clean drinking water. The resources of the dead and empty worlds have made the Empire prosperous. Well, that is fine, as that's only one world and a few colonies on the worlds you're getting resources from. But the Nile Empire is most of the galaxy, which has been built up slowly for thousands of years, Cleopatra said, looking at the screen with Lark. Expand too fast and it will just fall apart, that I agree on. My world of Atmos is made up of habitable terrace, that are large stilted areas that rise into the sky of various sizes, and below that, the wastelands, a vast uninhabitable place of lava, treacherous rock formations and dangerous creatures. There is the far side that is blocked off by mountains that can't be passed even with airships. The kingdoms survived by raiding and stealing from each other because of the limited resources. My family started off as heroes who brought down the warlords that plagued the lands, raiding and pillaging, not caring about the future. My family has since ruled with harsh laws and punishments, but they work, Lark said. The regime of your family is brutal, but brought peace and stability to your lands. Without your kingdom, the other kingdoms would have just fight among each other, Cleopatra said. According to the history books, we began expanding because of the other kingdoms kept on attacking our kingdom, Lark said. And now that your family rule your world, you now have the task of actually running it and keep it all together. Which is what separates the rulers from the myopic conquerors. As the myopic conqueror, while great on the battlefield and in a war economy, from the history of my galaxy, have run their conquered lands into disrepair, as they just aren't good at ruling and care more about their own pleasures than keeping their kingdoms running. They usually run things to the grounds, unable to do the administration part of ruling, try to flee when they see everything falling apart with as much loot as they can carry, or cling to power and end up killed or imprisoned. Wanting all the power but none of the responsibilities, Cleopatra said. Which is what separates my family from the others. We actually do take ruling seriously, we use the carrot and stick. Even the Stormhawks have realized that my family's rule is better for everyone. We're harsh but fair to the people we rule, Lark said. Can you two get off of me? Izuku asked, as both Cleopatra and Lark have been using his lap as their seat instead of the sofa. Each of the are sitting on one of his legs and trapping him underneath them. No, both girls said as they pressed themselves down on his lap. You have the nerve to see everything I had you did as my personal servant as just your duties. Letting you eat with my family, how I allow you to get away with things that I don't allow any other to do. Like using my real name. Having you wash me in the bath? Lark asked. He's a clueless idiot, but he's our idiot who we're going to have to train not to be clueless, Cleopatra said. Train me? Izuku asked, worried. Mom did suggest me having you chain up so that you won't run away again. But seeing how I'm going to be sharing you with others, I won't have to do much in keeping you in line. Besides, when you need to be reminded the hard way. I'm the token evil member of this soon-to-be family after all, Lark said, smiling wickedly. You pissed me and the others off, where what Kelly's mom did to Kelly's dad of putting him in the hospital sounds like a good idea. But since you know now, we're going to make sure you remember, and that you're very lucky in getting us to fall for you when you're way out of your class level when it comes to having us girls in love with you, Cleopatra said. I know, I had just thought all of you were just my friends, Izuku said, looking sad, which caused both Cleopatra and Lark to think how cute he looks. You're so lucky that you're cute, Lark said, and you can make it up to us, Cleopatra said. The next day, while Inko is talking with the parents, in Izuku's room, Adora, Glimmer, and Katra are telling him what happened after Horde Prime was killed. With Etheria back to real space and the sky filled with stars again, they were soon contacted by Eternia, whose world is advanced both in magic and technology. Adora meeting her birth parents and her twin brother Adam. She was teleported to Etheria by Skeletor, a warlord from the dark hemisphere of Eternia. 5. Wait, this Skeletor guy only has less than a dozen evil warriors and that's enough to be a global threat? Cleopatra asked. They're that powerful, Adora said. Adora's home world is on another level. Hordak needed an army to conquer, while Skeletor only has a few warriors who are just that powerful, Katra said. Reminds me of the universe of Wander. The villains there look lame and weird, but the villains use a scoreboard to show their ranks by who has conquered the most worlds. Something the so-and-so is an insecure and pathetic excuse for a villain. He wears a beanie, a tea kettle, mask, a mitten, a rubber glove, briefs over long underwear, a scuba flipper, a green pump, and a blue cape. But he's strong enough to have conquered 2 planets by himself and keep other villains from taking them, Izuku said, causing the others in the room to feel dread at the thought of any of those villains showing up. 6. Also Izuku, I forgot to tell you this last time. Thank you for getting my mom back, Glimmer said. That reminds me, Catra said as she dope slaps the back of Izuku's head. That's for shoving me and Adora into the escape pod. We could had help you, Adora said, remembering watching as the pod fell back down to the planet as the flagship that was burning disappeared into a portal. You saw what happened. I only survived because of Hordak pinning Horde Prime and getting the portal gun. I only survived my wounds because Zelda found me. And I knew it was a one-way trip and the best I could hope for was to delay Prime long enough to kill him when the ship blew up, Izuku said. You idiot, Catra said as she hugs him, followed by the others. Next day Inko was amazed at what Queen Zelda told her of her adventures with Link the hero. How Link awakened 100 years after the rise of the Calamity Ganon, a malicious entity that destroyed the kingdom of Hyrule, with only Zelda managing to hold it back from inside Hyrule Castle. Then how while exploring the depths underneath Hyrule Castle, she and Link found the ruins of Hyrule's ancient founders, the Zonai, and the reawakening Demon King Ganondorf. Afterwards she went to work rebuilding her kingdom and Link stayed on as her knight. She married a noble from another land for political reason and had Zelda, with Link, her lifelong friend, remaining as her knight. The firstborn daughter is always named Zelda? Cleopatra asked. Yes, it's an ancient tradition, Zelda said as she's in Izuku's room with Izuku and Cleopatra. And Link and your mother were never romantically engaged? Cleopatra asked. No, Uncle Link and Mother are just good friends. They did dated but nothing ever came out of it, Zelda said. Zelda, are you sure about this? Izuku asked. Mother is a powerful in magic, but isn't much in combat. This hero school will be a good place for me to learn to defend myself and learn to use my magic in other ways, Zelda said. Speaking of which, seeing how the school you wanted to go is bad and while they are making changes to how it's run and fired some of the old staff and bringing in new ones. They're only doing that because of the public shaming that was done to them. Why not go to another school? Besides, it's not like there are any quirkless heroes in Japan. They're all about flashy heroes with powers, Cleopatra said. I met heroes even greater than All Might and they didn't have powers. And being home and seeing it with new eyes, I see how Japan wouldn't be welcoming of a quirkless hero, Izuku said. So why not go to a school in a country that has quirkless heroes already? Justice High in the United States is sending that quirkless hero, Underfist, over here to give you a sales pitch, Cleopatra said. The Japanese government is only making changes to keep you here, which would cause all of us to stay here as well. I have been approached by people who want to make deals, Zelda said. That's normal for me, people wanting to get close to me because I'm the heir to the Nile Empire. There be guys making moves on us as well, to get us to fall for them instead. And girls throwing themselves at Izuku, the gold diggers, the ones who want fame and the ones who have ties to governments or other groups, Cleopatra said. And we're not letting you just go along with this ruse, Zelda said. Had this done in some worlds that figure out I have advanced technology or a portal gun, Izuku said. Atmos Master Cyclonus wonders what her mother is planning as she follows her. They enter a chamber and the sight before Master Cyclonus caused her to phase, seeing all the naked flesh before her. The chamber is one of the rooms used to host guests and is hosting young women around her age, all of them naked. These are kunoichis from that ninja school world that Izuku visited. They are the Homura Crimson Squad. For reasons of their own, the 5 former Hebio elites chose to let their school burn rather than defend it to the death. 6 months later, they continue to pay for that decision. Together on the run, they live as renegades, eking out a menial living by day, keeping one eye open every night. With their school rebuilt and out for blood, it's only a matter of time before they face their final reckoning. Till I found them and gave them a chance to start over, Torrent explained to her daughter. Homura, a tan-skinned, long dark-haired kunoichi who fights by wielding 6 katanas at the same time. Homura's elemental affinity is fire. Yomi, a blonde-haired kunoichi who uses a massive claymore-like sword and a cannon. Yomi's elemental affinity is wind. Hikage, a short green-haired kunoichi who uses a knife. Hikage's affinity is poison. Mirai, a long black-haired short girl wearing an eye patch, who uses an umbrella that is a concealed firearm and she hides other heavy weapons in her clothes. Haruka, a short-haired dark blonde kunoichi who uses chemical weapons and puppetry, concealing the inner workings of her strategies under her white coat. The others are fellow kunoichis from the same school who were all brainwashed till they were freed and joined the others on the run, Torrent said to the other 5 girls. Miyabi, a short white-haired kunoichi who uses a cursed 7-pronged sword. Murasaki, a long purple-haired kunoichi who uses giant shurikens attached to her hair. Murasaki's affinity is darkness. Imu, a short blonde-haired glasses-wearing kunoichi who uses a Shaolin staff that she can increase the size of. Imu's elemental affinity is lightning. Ryobi, a brown long-haired kunoichi who uses a musket, is the younger twin sister of Roina. Ryona, a short blonde-haired kunoichi who uses 2 quad handguns. Ryona's affinity is ice. All 10 of them were on the run and being chased by their former school. Now they will be your personal bodyguards and spies. They also were after Izuku when he was in their world, having befriended them before it was discovered the advanced technology he had that caused all the schools to send out their ninjas to capture him. And as you can see, all of them but for Mirai, who is still young, have busty bodies and are all very lovely, Torrent explains to Master Cyclonus. Having sexy ninja girls being my bodyguards who are also in love with Izuku, Master Cyclonus said, looking at blushing ninja girls at the mention of Izuku. I used the truth ray you made, and they had all planned on making Izuku reveal his secrets not by torture but by pleasure. They would have sex with him and get him to talk. And they're all eager to agree to my terms once they learned about you going to be married to Izuku in the future, Torrent said. I see, and they're all naked to show off their bodies to me, Master Cyclonus said, walking around the girls who blush as she looks them all over. They have been trained in the art of subduction and sex that kunoichis need in the field, which, seeing how you're going to have fellow wives, you should learn as well. There is more than fighting to show the ranking among your fellow wives. And you should expand your taste to women, seeing how you have all the opportunity to do so in the future, Torrent said. Yes, but how willing are these girls to serve me? Master Cyclonus asked, looking over the girls. We will do whatever it takes, Homura spoke up. She and the other girls wouldn't let Izuku get away from them again. And I'm willing to have you dominant and abuse me, any way you want, Ryona said, living her dream of having a master. Really now? Master Cyclonus asked. She's a masochist, dear. She wants to be abused by a master. So be a dear and show your new servant who is her master, Torrent said. Really now? Master Cyclonus asked, standing in front of Ryona, her mind racing with ideas. Yes. Why not you and your mother take turns on me? Ryona said, causing Master Cyclonus to look sick at that thought. Now you ruined the mood, Master Cyclonus said. A meeting was taking place with the top heroes of Japan, having all been gathered. The government official Suki is making sure that everything is perfect so that Midoriya and the princesses stay in Japan. Having everyone working for the government or hero with a quirk that gives them future sight in some form to all work together to see the best possible future where that happens. Seeing how Midoriya has saved entire worlds when he was in that space-faring world with that orange alien wander, from villains who, while they look silly, are a far greater threat than even All for One. Seeing how the villains there rank themselves by the number of planets that they have conquered, and saved the Nile galaxy from that warlord. Among the other heroic things he has done, he's getting a free pass to any hero school in Japan, as he has nothing to prove to anyone that he's a hero. It's the other way around, with us proving to him that he should stay here and be a hero here, Suki said to the assembled pro-heroes. Suki is standing in front of a screen showing the picture of Midoriya. All of your agencies have already been told of the new rules. There are going to be quirkless heroes. Midoriya has done more than any of you, and that includes you, All Might. The people who can see into the future have all seen bad times ahead for Japan if Midoriya leaves for another school in another country. The best outcome if that happens is a deep recession that lasts for years, losing status and face on the world stage, Suki said. The screen changed, showing an old man and a picture of Underfist in his prime. The Americans have sent the retired hero Underfist, a quirkless hero who used a robotic gauntlet to talk to Midoriya into going to Justice High where he teaches. Japan doesn't have any quirkless heroes, and just making Midoriya into the expectation to the rule is just making it clear we only value him because of the princesses who are romantically involved. That just results in Midoriya leaving and Japan losing face and trade deals. Hence why we're making the mandatory chances. Don't like it, you can always be replaced. Queen Torrent of the Cyclonia Empire has shown that she has the technology to drain people of their quirks. Eraserhead has been studied and his quirk is just gone, not that he could remain as a pro hero after the scene he caused. Make a scene like that where you stand in the way or sabotage a quirkless hero because of your views, you will have your license and quirk taken. We're already in talks with her about draining the quirks of villains that are in prison. A few heroes who don't agree with how things are going to be from now on will help send a message, Suki said coldly. A man in costume walks onto the stage. Luckily we do have a quirkless hero who can be an example for the others who don't have quirks and want to be heroes. Awao Oguro, Knuckleduster, a quirkless vigilante. He's now a pro hero fully licensed and is now a teacher at UA to teach there. He was a clock before he lose his quirk but carried on being a hero. Once there are quirkless young heroes available, your agencies need to have an active quirkless hero. If not, the agency will be shut down. All quirkless heroes will have any and all support equipment available to them, Suki said. The screen changed to a picture of the Nile Embassy and Knuckleduster left the stage. The Nile Empire is over 40,000 years old and rules most of the Nile Galaxy. Is the most technologically advanced and stable, with a large military force that keeps the peace. We cannot afford to anger Pharaoh Yosira or her daughter Cleopatra. She has taken charge of diplomatic affairs, having dealt with less advanced worlds like ours. The embassy is a ship model made for this kind of situation, where an embassy can quickly be made, and is also where Midoriya and his mother are now living after their apartment was ransacked, Suki said. The next picture shows the Cyclonia Empire Embassy. A large building that was quickly built thanks to prefabricated construction that just needed to be put together by giant robots, and is also guarded by said giant robots called Sentinels. The Cyclonia Empire is the most dangerous, as they are openly evil. They have taken over their world of Atmos, a world of thousands of mountaintop kingdoms, by dominating the economy. Thanks to them being able to travel to different dimensions, they've been able to gather resources and technology from dead worlds, allowing the Cyclonia Empire to completely dominate the economy where the other kingdoms would fall apart without the resources from the empire. They have raised the standards of living for the people under their rule. The empire has stamped out all pirate and bandit activities as well as all organized crime. They use mind-reading machines to find them and don't have courts to handle them, they just send them off to forced labor camps. The sentinels guarding the embassy are designed to hunt down and kill people with powers and are designed to handle a wide array of powers. If they become hostile, they can easily dominate our world. Master Cyclonus must never be given a reason to be hostile, Suki said. The next picture shows the Equestrian Embassy, which is a large castle made out of crystals, with several other crystal buildings nearby. The Equestrian Embassy was literally grown using magic crystals and made the other embassies for the others. Queen Celestia and her sister Luna both are able to move planets and stars with their powers. Princess Sunset has her mother's power as well, just less refined and less powerful thanks to her young age. There is no way anyone here be able to take on someone who can move a star just by thinking about it. She and the first two are the most powerful and all need to be handled carefully. The first two have armies, the third can fling armies into space. The others are all a mixed bag in what they're able to do and offer. But none of them are to be taken lightly as they are in a polyamory relationship and angering one can bring the others to their aid. Seeing how many of them can use magic and have other abilities or robots in the case of the Kraken Girl, they are all to be treated well, Suki said. The screen shuts off. We really need to roll out the red carpet for them and make their stay here a good one. The future of Japan depends on it. In case or an emergency, a call will be sent out and you are to drop whatever you're doing and get to where you are needed. We need to impress them and show them that Japan is where they should stay, Suki said. On a wall of the room is a literally bug. A spy bug in the shape of a fly watching the meeting and transmitting it back to base. Cyclonia Empire Embassy inside a computer room, Master Cyclonus smiled as they rate her second to Cleopatra on the danger scale. With her openly being evil has caused many to be weary of her. Mother wasn't pleased with how she had missed her chance at just taking Izuku when she could, but with this new arrangement with her having fellow wives, has given them a new opportunity. Being the token evil teammate as it's called, being the one who will step up and do the evil that is needed. Impressive work, Doctor, Master Cyclonus said to Dr. Olivia Octavius. The good doctor was floating between dimensions when she popped out of one of the portals to other worlds. She now works for the Cyclonia Empire with more resources than she ever had working for Fist. And Master Cyclonus is smart and can understand everything she says without her having to dumb things down. Thank you, Master Cyclonus, Octavius said. Tron, what about you? Master Cyclonus asked the other person in the room with her. The robots are all ready, Tron Bond said. She's a brown-haired girl who used to be a pirate with her brothers, but after a portal opened where she and her family spotted it and one of Tron's servbots got inside before it closed, learned about other dimensions. With the robots that she created, Tron and her family were offered jobs in the Empire. Mega Man Legends. Good, you two can return to your other duties, Master Cyclonus said with the doctor leaving, but Tron stayed. Yes, what is it? I would like to enroll with you in the hero school. It'd be a chance for me to test out my mech against superpowers, Tron said. Sure, why not? It's always good to have some more help, Master Cyclonus said. Nile Embassy Cleopatra watched the TV screen with a twitch in her eye as she watches the trailer of a video game. Lead Salad, the latest, hottest, all-girl band in a world where bands fight each other for fans. 1. The scene shows the band members. Zoe, lead vocals, a short-haired blonde. Gina, lead guitar, a short dark-haired dark-skinned girl. Carrie, drums, a redhead in ponytails. Becky, bass guitar, a long brown-haired girl. Deborah, the manger, a short-haired blonde woman with an eye patch over her right eye. They found the prefect roadie. The scene shows Izuku fixing up their equipment for their next show, and helping out in fighting the other bands. But he left them after the tour ended. The scene shows Izuku leaving by a portal. They're not going to let something like traveling to other dimensions stop them. The scene shows them in their battle-ready RV driving into a portal to find their roadie and make him theirs. Scene shows the 4 young girls all pressing themselves around Izuku. But they have a problem. The scene shows Izuku being taken away from the band. 13 problems. Screenshots of the 13 princesses all claiming Izuku as theirs. They must travel to 13 different worlds. Screenshots of the 13 different world. Fighting against the princesses' minions. Screenshots of the band members fighting soldiers, robots, and animals in a beat-them-up style. Mini-bosses. Screen showing the band members fighting the other girls who are also in love with Izuku. The scene ends with the band fighting on the USS Constitution, fighting against Captain Ironside, with Ruby showing up at the end and leaping into the sea. Before fighting the princesses themselves, Ruby burst out of the sea in the background in her giant kraken form and slamming her hands onto the deck of the ship trying to smash the band members. Followed by scene shots of the other princesses, all to get their roadie, boyfriend back. The scene ends with the band members posing for the camera in front of the title screen. Battle of the Bands. Dimensional Tour. Oh, let's get it, a young blonde said. It looks fun, a dark-haired girl said. Enough you two, Cleopatra said to her 2 handmaids and friends. While on an emergency stop on a world covered in mostly cities, she and Izuku found 2 living people both on a tall skyscraper. Chito, a young girl with short black hair, and Yuri, a young blonde-haired girl. And she made them her maids as they had nowhere else to go. Girls' last tour. Who made this game? Cleopatra asked. It's by that imp and that mix-up thing, Chito said as the trailer showed both Discord and Mixiespitlik on screen as the creators. Figures, Cleopatra said. I'll be more worried about those girls showing up and beating you up, Yuri said. Cleopatra quickly left the room. Izuku's room. I did work as a roadie for the band for one night and they're all in their 20s, Izuku said to the girls who have packed themselves into the room. Good, because fighting other girls, 4, Ruby said and trailed off as she thinks about it. Fighting off other girls who want you all to themselves would be something we would do, Sunset said as she doesn't have a problem sharing Izuku. But really, why would they make a game like that? Usagi asked. It's just something they do, Sunset said. It's tamer than what usually happens, Diana said. Well, at least if that band does show up and they are adults who are after Izuku, we can hurt them as much as we want, Bloom said. Because the only one who gets to sexually violate you is us, Harley said, causing all the girls to glare at her. Harley. They all shouted at her. What, as if none of you want to chain him to the bed and make sure he knows that we love him, in the most blunt way with no way he can't get it that we want him, Harley said. No, that's something out of an adult sex fiction, Haruka said. Well, you wanted to do that to him, Harley pointed out, causing Haruka to blush. Izuku knows we love him, and if not we can do what my mom did to my dad. Punching him till he gets it, Kelly said, causing all the girls to look at Izuku, who sweated. 2. Gran Torino, it's been years, the old man in an old-fashioned suit said to the old retired hero. It has, Underfist, Gran Torino greeted his fellow hero of his generation. Both heroes are in the front lobby of the Nile embassy, waiting to be called to speak to Midoriya, giving him their sales pitch to come to their school. For days now, heroes who have retired and been teaching have been sent to Japan, all of them having been well-known heroes in their primes. All trying to get the young man to come to their school, to their country. Made harder as the 13 princesses are with him to question the person sent to give the sales pitch. With both Sunset using her empathetically and Diana using her lasso of truth, the girls got the truth out of the person sent. Surprised that they sent you instead of your old student, Underfist said. This kind of thing isn't suited to him, Gran Torino said. All Might wouldn't be able to handle giving a sales pitch, Underfist said. That's for sure, Gran Torino said, is the real reason why he was sent, so that his old student's secret wouldn't be revealed and that the talks can last longer than his time limit would allow him. Heard that Knuckleduster, a quirkless vigilante, has been made a pro-hero. Japan doesn't have a history of quirkless pro-heroes, unlike my country. We always had quirkless heroes who were gadget users, or my old gauntlet. Must be tough making sure that Midoriya isn't just the exception to how things are done around here. Would you even know how to train someone without a quirk? Underfist asked. I just have to put effort into it, Gran Torino said, knowing what Underfist is up to. When he was an active hero he would talk and talk to get under the villain's skin to throw them off. If I remember right, you went and scarred All Might with your training. The girls with Midoriya won't be happy about that, Underfist said. I can handle them, Gran Torino said. Please, you know how to talk to girls. Next you be telling Midoriya how to handle the girls in love with him, Underfist said. I have you know I could write a book on love, Gran Torino said. All quiet on the Western Front, Underfist said. Hey, Gran Torino growled. There's a reason why you're alone, even with you retired, that you have been talking to someone your age. But of course you're a small troll now, Underfist smirks at his much smaller fellow old hero while he's still tall. You want to take this outside? Gran Torino growled. Like last time where I stuff you in a trash can? Well, at least you won't need to be freed unlike last time, Underfist said. You two are the same, an elderly English woman said, entering the lobby. She is dressed in the clothes of a famous English nanny. Ms. Poppins, the two old men said. It's Samantha now, I passed the title to my successor, Samantha said, who was the last holding of the title of Ms. Poppins. Modeled after the famous nanny of the book series and films, the first Ms. Poppins had the quirk to make herself an object's weightless. By using an umbrella she was able to glide through the air and drop heavy objects from great heights or swing around big objects, and by shifting her quirk from normal to weightless could hit a villain with a truck. Who passed the title down to a younger heroine once age started to get to her and been a tradition since. Come to try as well? Underfist asked. Just like you too. And Underfist is right, Gran Torino. You have never trained a quirkless student. Underfist and I have. And have you forgotten that Julie, who I took the Poppins title from, was quirkless? But then again you would try to forget being humiliated like she did with you, Samantha said. That's right, you tried to zoom past her and she reached out and grabbed you, pulling off your pants and underwear, Underfist said. Causing Gran Torino to growl at that past humiliation. In a bar, Tamura Shigaraki played the new game that appeared in stores, Battle of the Bands, Dimensional Tour. Yes, it's a game, and yes, the characters might not be accurate to the real ones. But it does give us an idea of what we're dealing with, Tamura said, playing a video of the gameplay of the game. Level 1 Ruby Gilman, the Kraken Princess. In her land form she still has a boneless rubbery body that can stretch. In her water form, she's a giantess and as powerful as she looks, gaining a third leg and able to fire a beam of energy from her mouth. The minions and bosses of her level are the robot crew of the USS Constitution that has 4 rockets strapped to it, allowing it to fly. Eyebots, floated eyes used as security, scouts and spies, armed with lasers. Mr. Handy and Miss Nanny models, the domestic and utility robots armed with pincers, buzzsaws, flamethrowers, and tools for whatever work they're designed for. Mr. Gutsy models, the military-grade robots armed with lasers. Protectron models, programmed for security, clerical duties, public relations, firefighting, paramedic, policing, military, or construction duties. Armed with lasers and the tools for whatever duties they were programmed to do. Assaultrons, humanoid robots, built for close combat and have powerful head lasers. They also can turn invisible. Securitrons come in two types. Mark I configuration. They're armed with a 9mm machine gun and Gatling lasers and sport a cartoon policeman's face on their screens. Mark II configuration. Use the much deadlier grenade and missile launcher armaments, now sporting a cartoonish US Army soldier on their screens. Robo-Scorpions, robot scorpions, armed with pincers and laser tails. Cyberdogs, cyborg dogs, armed with teeth and claws and sonic howls. Robobrains, cyborgs that are brains in a jar on a robot body, armed with lasers and mind beams. Synths, humanoid robots, armed with weapons that humans can use. Sentry bots, the robot tanks and heavy hitters, armed with construction claws, mini-guns, missile launchers, mortars, and Gatling lasers. Bosses Roxy the Cyberdog, much stronger and faster than the other cyberdogs. Toe a custom-made robot with Ed E and Ibot and Muggy a toy-sized Securitron. Both smaller robots ride on the bigger robot firing energy attacks. Both smaller robots will repair Toe and can only be damaged while they're repairing. Dr. Mobius, robot genius who send out robots to attack in his robot factory. Need to outlast the waves till his machines overheat. Bosun, Mr. Navigator, and Lookout, three Mr. Handies that fight together using the cannons of the Constitution, which the players have to hit back to damage the ship. First Mate, a police protectron armed with a taser and lasers. Captain Ironsides, a sentry bot armed with a construction claw, a Gatling laser, and two shoulder-mounted mortars. Level 2 Rainbow Bright has the power of rainbows and can purify. She fires rainbow beams from her hands. She can travel by firing rainbow beams that shoot her into the air and ride on a rainbow disc. Minions Sprites are a group of moth-like aliens who mine for color crystals on Rainbowland. They come in different colors and have different abilities to their color. Red has firepower and are the fastest runners. Orange have earth powers and are strong. Yellow have light powers and can fly. Green have plant powers and ride animals. Indigo have lightning powers and can teleport. Violet have wind powers and operate vehicles. Blue have water powers and can turn invisible. Pink have healing powers. Black have darkness powers and can teleport from shadows. Gray have weather powers and can ride on clouds. Boss's Red Butler has firepower and is the fastest runner. Lala Orange has earth powers and is strong. Canary Yellow has light powers and can fly. Patty O'Green has plant powers and can talk to animals. Indigo Doll has lightning powers and can teleport. Shy Violet has wind powers and is the smart one. Buddy Blue has water powers and can turn invisible. Tickle Pink has healing powers and can sense other emotions. Moonglow has darkness powers and can teleport from shadows. Stormy has weather powers and can ride on clouds. Level 3 Princess Iris, a magical princess who uses the scepter of Ephedia. Cast powerful spells that all do tons of damage but less refined in skill in using them. Has a second form after beating her the first time. Her Shanila form is much stronger, has no mercy in her attacks, teleports, and the scepter turns into a sword. Minion soldiers come in different types depending on what kind of weapon they use. Foot soldiers, the most common soldiers who are armed with swords and shields or spears. Knights are more armored and carry better weapons. Mages use magic to attack. Archers use bows or crossbows. Bosses Talia, the fighter of the group who uses a magic staff. Oriana creates barriers and force fields around herself while casting other spells. Carissa uses magic to increase her strength, a hand-to-hand fighter. Lina, the most graceful in using magic spells. Izira, the older sister of Talia, uses a medallion, which amplifies her powers and has its own special attack. Level 4 Azula, a powerful firebender who has blue flames to show how much hotter her fire is. Can also bend lightning. Is nimble and graceful, making her very hard to hit. Minions Fire Soldier come in different types depending on what kind of weapon they use. Foot soldiers, the most common soldiers who are armed with swords, hammers, spears, or other weapons. Archers use bows or crossbows. Firebenders, soldiers who can bend fire. Yuyan archers, highly skilled archers. Royal procession, elite firebenders. Bosses June and Nyla, her pet Shirshu, dual boss. June uses a whip and rides on Nyla, who has a long tongue that paralyzes when it hits. Tai Li, hand-to-hand fighter who uses pressure points to paralyze and disable. Is very hard to hit and evades attacks. Mai uses throwing knives, needles and hidden blades. Zuko is a firebender and a skilled sword fighter. Level 5 Princess Zelda, a powerful magic uses who uses barriers and shields. Uses a magic bow that fires energy arrows. Minion soldiers come in different types depending on what kind of weapon they use and what race they belong to. Hylian's foot soldiers, the most common soldiers who are armed with swords and shields or spears. Knights are more armored and carry better weapons. Mages use magic to attack. Archers use bows or crossbows. Rito soldiers are the same but are able to fly. Gerudo soldiers are the same as Hylians but are all females. Goron soldiers are stronger and have more defense. Zora soldiers are able to use water attacks. Guardian stalkers, giant spider tank robots with 6 legs and a central turret that fires a powerful laser. Guardian scouts, miniature variants that can wield handheld weaponry. Guardian skywatchers, flying units that attack with lasers. Bosses Joshua rides in a mine cart and tosses bombs in a chase battle in the underground level, with the players on hoverboards. Tulin fights with a bow and tries to knock the player off the floating platform they're riding on. Mipha, princess of the Zora named after her aunt, controls water and will send waves of water at the player in the water level. Nora fights with a spear and rides a sand walrus in the desert level. Slargo and Offrak dual boss with one of them rolling into a ball and being tossed at the player in the lava level. Level 6 Star Butterfly uses a wide array of spells and is a powerful hand-to-hand fighter as well. Can summon spells to fight for her. Minion soldiers come in different types depending on what kind of weapon they use. Foot soldiers, the most common soldiers who are armed with swords and shields or spears. Knights are more armored and carry better weapons. Archers use bows or crossbows. Bosses Ponyhead can fire beams from her horn and flies around trying to ram into the player with her horn. Higgs uses a sword and a shield and knows how to use both. Kelly covers herself with her hair that acts like armor and swings a claymore around. Level 7 Wonder Woman, her bracelets can block anything and her lasso can be used as a whip. Strong, fast, and skilled, can block attacks and counter them. Minions Cops show up in the AL but the last level, armed with clubs, guns and riot shields. Amazons show up in the last levels, armed with swords, shields, spears, and other melee weapons. Bosses Harley Quinn uses a giant mallet and swings it around wildly, and has a spring-loaded boxing glove that springs out of it. Tosses bombs around as well. Bumblebee fires beams of energy from her gauntlets and can shrink herself and fly around fast. Batgirl is a skilled fighter who uses gadgets in battle. Green Lantern can create hard light green constructions that is only limited by her imagination. Fights in a chase battle as the player heads for the Amazon island on a boat, landing on the boat after half of her health bar is gone. Zatanna uses magic by saying spells backwards. Supergirl can fly, is super strong, high defense and speed, can fire heat beams from her eyes and has super breath. Level 8 Princess Usagi, a powerful magic user who uses her tiara in battle. Can heal herself, making the fight a long one. Minion soldiers come in different types depending on what kind of weapon they use. Foot soldiers, the most common soldiers who are armed with swords and shields, spears, and energy guns. Knights are more armored and carry better weapons. Magic soldiers fight using magic. 1. Bosses Amy uses ice magic and technology. Rei uses fire magic and spirit powers. Makoto uses lightning and is the physical the strongest. Minako uses light magic and attacks long range. Haruka uses earth magic and is a sword fighter. Michiru uses water magic and uses a magic mirror that can reflect attacks. Hotaru uses dark magic and uses a halberd. Note, all the guardians can only use a limited number of attack spells. making them like Digimons or Pokémons. Level 9 Princess Bloom uses Dragonfire magic, is immune to fire which she can absorb to power her up and heal herself, and can fly. Can manifest her fire magic in the form of fire dragons, fireballs, fire beams, firestorms, and explosions of varying intensities. Minion soldiers come in different types depending on what kind of weapon they use. Foot soldiers, the most common soldiers who are armed with swords and shields, spears, and energy guns. Knights are more armored and carry better weapons. Magic soldiers fight using magic. Bosses Stella uses light magic and stronger in the light than in the dark. Her powers come from the sun, mostly, and her attacks consist of casting beams of light. She can also concentrate her energy to make herself glow brightly in dark places. Stella can create streaks of solar energy and is able to create explosions of sunlight that can leave the opponent temporarily blind. She can shape sunlight into barriers and shields, which is extremely useful. She can conjure light in any area, no matter how dark. Flora uses plant magic, letting her control plants. Normally she prefers the use of vine whips to wrap around her opponents and immobilize them. Even so, she has been shown using beams and attacks made of petals or whole flowers. Musa uses music and sound magic, also uses musical instruments. She usually uses attacks that are disco-themed and can create disco ball force fields, distracting musical blasts, and virtual speakers which enclose around an enemy and immobilize them through incredibly loud bass music. Musa can also create walls and barriers of the musical scale and explosive musical notes. Tekna, her magic are entirely based on technology, digital energy, and control electricity. She can create barriers and shields around her, and able to create weapons from using machine parts from her surroundings. Aisha uses water magic. She can create tidal waves and floods, but also rain, clouds, a miniature hurricane, and hailstorms. She can make morphics sticky and elastic, that she can make anything out of it, from weapons to clones of herself. Roxy has nature magic that allows her to control animals. She can summon birds, mammals, insects, fishes to come to her aid. Level 10 Adora, Shira. She has 2 stages. Her normal form, a skilled soldier who uses her sword and a blaster. In her second stage she transforms into Shira, stronger and faster, able to use super-powered sword attacks. Minion soldiers come in different types depending on what kind of weapon they use. Foot soldiers, the most common soldiers who are armed with swords and shields, spears, and other melee weapons. Gunners use energy guns and other long-range weapons. Robots soldiers attack with lasers or mechanical claws. Magic soldiers fight using magic. Bosses Glimmer, she teleports and casts attack spells. She is also a strong fighter who uses her large size to her advantage. She particularly favors an eminently practical teleport into a dropkick or tackle. Uses a magical staff to increase her power. Bow, a skilled archer who uses different kinds of arrows and gadgets. Perfuma can control plants and can create a titanic plant golem. Uses all kinds of different plants found on her world, acid plants that can melt metal and different kinds of toxic plants. Mermista controls water and able to switch from legs to a mermaid tail, is armed with a trident. Seahawk, a skilled swordsman and whose ship the dual boss battle with Mermista his girlfriend takes place on. When one of them is taken down, the other gains a huge power boost. Frosta has ice and snow powers, uses her power to create ice armor around her body that has to be broken before she can be harmed. Can create ice walls and cover the ground with snow and ice to make it hard to move. Netosa can conjure powerful nets out of energy that can trap projectile attacks and redirect them at the player. She can use them to create barriers and shields. Spinnerella controls wind and air. She can create cyclones of wind and is able to fly. She can also create vacuum blades of winds that can cut through just about anything. She and Netosa are a dual boss, with them being a couple. When one of them is taken out, the other gets a huge power-up. Scorpia has claws for hands and a long scorpion tail with a stinger that can paralyze when it hits. Is strong and fast for her size. Can also attack by firing red energy beams from her claws. Entrapta, a genius in technology and robotic, her hair is prehensile that she can use as extra limbs. She fights with her battle bot Emily, that's bigger and more powerful than normal bots. She can repair her bot when it's taken out. Catra is fast and agile, can easily evade attacks and has clawed hands and feet. Uses a battle staff in combat. Level 11 Sunset Shimmer is strong and fast, attacks with magic and telekinesis. Can do anything her bodyguards are able to do but stronger. Minions Pegasus soldiers can fly and are fast, can attack by kicking clouds and sending down bolts of lightning. Unicorn soldiers attack using magic. Earth Pony soldiers are the powerhouses. Bosses Trixie Lullamoon, a unicorn who teleports and attacks using fireworks. Indigo Zap, a Pegasus with large wings on her back, and like all Pegasus ponies she is immune to electricity, high tolerance for extreme heat and cold. She's also the fastest in flight speed. Sugarcoat, a unicorn having a horn on her forehead. She's a skilled magic user having studied with Sunset in learning magic, skilled in white magic. Lemon Zest, an earth pony with a powerful body who is super strong even for an earth pony. She also isn't a simple brute reliant on her strength alone and is in fact a highly skilled fighter. Sour Sweet, a Pegasus who is skilled in multiplying the weather. Sunny Flare, a unicorn who is a skilled magic user, skilled in black magic. Juniper Montage, an earth pony who is a skilled tactical fighter, who doesn't just rely on her super strength. Level 12 Master Cyclonus, uses a staff powered by energy crystals that have different effects depending on what color crystal is being used. Has two forms: the cloak form that gives her more protection but is slower, while the cape form gives her speed. She is also the only boss that is a dual boss battle. Piper, a girl with the ability to infuse others with crystal powers. She fights with Master Cyclonus, giving her a power boost and heals her. If she's taken out, Master Cyclonus goes into a rage and gains a huge power boost. Minion soldiers armed with crystal staffs, crystal-powered melee weapons and energy guns, or ride in air vehicles. Most of the robots from the first level reappears in this stage. Eyebots, floated eyes used as security, scouts and spies, armed with lasers. Mr. Handy and Miss Nanny models, the domestic and utility robots armed with pincers, buzzsaws, flamethrowers, and tools for whatever work they're designed for. Mr. Gutsy models, the military-grade robots armed with lasers. Protectron models, programmed for security, clerical duties, public relations, firefighting, paramedic, policing, military, or construction duties. Armed with lasers and the tools for whatever duties they were programmed to do. Assaultrons, humanoid robots, built for close combat and have powerful head lasers. They also can turn invisible. Securitrons, come in two types. Mark I configuration, they're armed with a 9mm machine gun and Gatling lasers and sport a cartoon policeman's face on their screens. Mark II configuration, use the much deadlier grenade and missile launcher armaments, now sporting a cartoonish US Army soldier on their screens. Robo-Scorpions, robot scorpions, armed with pincers and laser tails. Robo-Brains, cyborgs that are brains in a jar on a robot body, armed with lasers and mind beams. Synths, humanoid robots, armed with weapons that humans can use. Sentry bots, the robot tanks and heavy hitters, armed with construction claws, mini-guns, missile launchers, mortars, and Gatling lasers. Sentinels, giant robots that fire plasma from their hands. Bosses Snipe, big and strong who uses large and powerful weapons. Fights in a chase battle on a large warship, with the players on hoverboards. Reves, an archer who uses crystal tip arrows. Fights in a chase battle with the players on hoverboards. Dark Ace, a swordsman who uses a crystal-powered sword. Fights in an air battle on Switchblade while the players are on hoverboards. Tron Bon, uses a mech to fight. The mech is a large robot body with a cockpit where the head is supposed to be and is protected by a crystal dome. Have many smaller robots called servbots that also attacks the player with a wide array of weapons. Homura, a kunoichi who fights by wielding 6 katanas at the same time. Homura's elemental affinity is fire. Yomi, a kunoichi who uses a massive claymore-like sword and a cannon. Yomi's elemental affinity is wind. Hikage, a kunoichi who uses a knife. Hikage's affinity is poison. Mirai, a kunoichi who uses an umbrella that is a concealed firearm and she hides other heavy weapons in her clothes. Haruka, a kunoichi who uses chemical weapons and puppetry. Miyabi, a kunoichi who uses a cursed 7-pronged sword. Murasaki, a kunoichi who uses giant shurikens attached to her hair. Murasaki's affinity is darkness. Imu, a kunoichi who uses a Shaolin staff that she can increase the size of. Imu's elemental affinity is lightning. Ryobi, a kunoichi who uses a musket, is the younger twin sister of Roina. Ryona, a kunoichi who uses 2 quad handguns. Ryona's affinity is ice. The sisters are dual bosses who fight together. Level 13 Cleopatra has multiple stages in her boss fight. The first is her in a massive mech modeled after herself, armed with lasers and rockets, attack with extending arms and stomping the ground. The second stage is the lower half being destroyed and the torso popping out tank treads to move around. Third stage is rockets popping out and the merch flying. The fourth stage is the merch blowing up, revealing Cleopatra on a flying throne with an array of weapons, lasers, rockets, and electric waves, in a chase battle. Once grounded, she uses a power energy staff, laser guns, energy fields, and protect by force fields. Minions: Egyptian-style soldiers armed with energy swords, staffs, laser guns, and ride in vehicles, with alien soldiers in the ranks. Egyptian-style robots. Bosses: Aquila Theris, fights in an attack watercraft in the river level while the players are on hoverboards. The craft is armed with lasers and rockets, firing mines that the player has to pick up and toss back before they explode. Brian Bell controls a VTOL gunship that's armed with lasers and bombs. The point of view changes to Brain in the cockpit of the gunship. The player needs to throw the robots launched from the gunship into the screen and damaging the gunship. Cheeto and Yuri, they ride in a Ketencrad hovercraft, as they race the player to the palace who are on hoverboards. Yuri, riding in the back, will toss bombs and fire lasers and rockets at the player. Behind the players are a horde of soldiers and robots in vehicles firing at them as well. If the player can't beat the two before the time runs out, the two will cross the main gate, which will close behind them. They will have to fight the horde of soldiers and robots in endless waves as they need to damage the gate to get into the palace. Followed by a dual boss battle against Cheeto, who is armed with a laser gun with bayonet, and Yuri with a rocket launcher. A boss rush awaits the players inside the palace, where the past girl bosses who are after Midoriya show up to fight the players. That is random in the lineup in each playthrough, with the exception of Ruby bursting out from underneath the floor in her Kraken form, where her defeat has her giant body is used as a platform to reach the final boss. It's just a game, but it does give us an idea what we're dealing with. As long as they're here in Japan, those princesses will just get in our way, All For One said to Tamura. If we follow the plan with the UA and those princesses are there, their parents will demand action, Tamura said. The evil empire would be the one to take action, sending the army of those sentinels to attack. Fighting those giant robots who are designed to kill those with powers will just end with us dead, All For One said. 2. What do we do? Tamura asked. Make sure that those princesses won't want to stay here, All For One said. Make the school unsuitable for the princesses? Tamura asked. Yes, that would do it. But something that can't be linked back to us, All For One said. Lark, are you there? Izuku asked as he's led into Master Cyclonus's private room in the Cyclonia Empire Embassy, which is protected by female guards and robots. Izuku, so nice for you to come over, Lark's voice called out. Lark, we need to talk about the kunoichis from the ninja school world, Izuku said, looking around for Lark. In the bathroom, come in, Lark said. Bathroom? Izuku asked. Don't be shy, you've seen me naked before and wash me, Lark teased. I'm in the hot tub and you can join me. I seen you naked too. I know, Izuku said, blushing, remembering his time as Lark's personal servant and before that when he was just a prisoner. Lark disguised herself as another prisoner and spent time with him in the cell he was placed in. Where the week they spent in there, Izuku told her about himself after Lark said she overheard that he somehow showed up in Master Cyclonus's personal chambers, which he told her about how he's been traveling to different worlds thanks to a portal gun. Only to accidentally ended up in a bathroom with Master Cyclonus using it at the time. But seeing how he entered by a portal, the girl was more interested in the portal gun than him invading her private time. But still had him strip and toss into the cell. She in turn told him about her and how the new world he found himself in worked. He told her about the worlds he's been to and his home world. That all ended when Queen Torrent entered the cell and told Lark that the game she's playing is over. And Lark revealed herself to be the princess of Cyclonia, Master Cyclonus. Izuku did asked why isn't her mother have the title of master. which Queen Torrent explained that Lark was given the title by her later grandmother, who held the title of Master Anarchus, who also gave the title of Master Buzzer to her son. But as she married into the royal family, she didn't have a title of Master, just Queen. Queen Torrent also explains that while it was an accident, he still ended up in her daughter's bathroom while she was using it. She would just have him executed, but she will leave his fate to Lark, which Lark made him her personal servant, and he will explain how his machines work, and maybe she will be able to figure out how to make her own portal gun. Izuku accepted as he didn't have any other choice, and Lark was his best hope to return home, seeing how there's only enough green portal fluid left for at least one more jump. Flashback: Izuku spent weeks serving Lark and teaching her how the technologies and the magic items he had with him work. The Eye of Dashi, having unlimited power, and the Orb of Tournami were the ones that got her interest. Lark had already explained to him that her empire is expanding and taking over other terraces because of the lack of resources, as being mountaintop kingdoms the terraces have few resources available to them, not to mention limited space. The wastelands do have resources, but because of the dangers, there are very few outposts found at ground level. With unlimited power and fresh drinking water, her empire won't have to worry about lacking vital resources. Which is why Lark took all of the treasures and resources that Izuku had stored in his SAC that he kept for emergencies. The surface of the world of Atmos is largely made up of extremely dangerous and uninhabitable grounds known as the wastelands. Civilization is largely set on terrace, mountainous landmasses that reach above the cloud layer over the wastelands. The different terrace range in size from large enough for a big city to small enough for a farm or two. Resources are always low, and if Cyclonia wasn't around, the other terrace would be fighting among themselves for said resources. The plants that he also brought alone are also giving her people a better diet. The lantern trees, marble melon plants, Chinese potato plants, bulbo trees, ancient fruits, and other unknown food crops are being grown on the farms. Izuku also spent that time being a friend to Lark, as he thought that was all she really needed, and to help her see there are better ways than just conquering. In Lark's laboratory, where she experiments with the technology and stuff that Izuku had in his SAC, the AI Secundo has helped in Lark learning about the technologies, but he's only doing it because he's worried about Izuku being held by her. Now that Izuku is freed, Secundo is being more helpful. Her new laboratory is powered by electricity instead of power crystals, as it was just easier for her to make a new laboratory that is powered by electricity than converting the new machines to run on crystal power. The laboratory was created by using a builder to make 4 large rooms, a scanner room, and a moon pool. A bioreactor and solar panels powers the laboratory. Her old laboratory is still in use when she does experiments on crystals. It took her a while to figure out how to use electricity and crystal power together. But thanks to the scanner with all the data saved into it and what Dr. Mobius had already done studying the technologies that Izuku had scanned already, Lark used what was already researched and expanded from there, making it work with the technology of her world, melding them together. She also had scanners given out to her soldiers and told to scan things to find the materials needed to create weapons and equipment. Soon fabricators and modification stations began showing up in bases, just needed raw materials and power to work. Snowfox hoverpads, now modified to create switchblades and skimmers. Neptune escape rocket, allowing Lark to send up probes and satellites up into space. Sierra Madre vending machines, being able to make just about anything with materials and power. Saturnite, a ceramic-like polymer alloy, allowing the creations of the sharpest of blades. Robot workbenches, allowing her to build a robotic army that can work as soldiers or serve other duties. Robot miners and robot soldiers were soon setting up depots in the wastelands to gather the resources there. Thanks to the fact the robots aren't made out of flesh, the animals of the wastelands had little reason to attack the bases and depots. And protected by an array of turrets, firing bullets, lasers and missiles, driving off the dangerous beasts. Also replacing the prisoners who are in the forced labor camp, where the robots don't need to eat or sleep. Resulting in former prisoners being ransomed for their freedom, to just being exchanged for Cyclonia prisoners. The fusion generator, a fusion-powered electric generator that uses a fusion core to produce electricity, are being made in bases and settlements, to help power the new factories. Armor forges, producing armor. Weapon, energy weapon, and heavy weapon forges producing weapons that Atmos has never seen before. Ammunition and explosive forges producing the ammunition for the new weapons. Building up the military equipment, with all military actions being halted as the soldiers are being retrained to use the new equipment. But while there was a phase in military actions, using the idea that Izuku gave them, Lark's parents are also trying an economy victory, instead of a military victory. After Lark discovered video games in the data that Izuku had scanned, with one of the games being a nation-building game where victory could come in different ways instead of just conquering. With Izuku pointing out that a nation that provides so much goods to other nations could simply stop and force the other nations to submit. Builders, producing consumer goods. Auto loom, producing clothes. And the food processors, mass-producing food goods, all being shipped out using merchants that did business with Cyclonia. Soon processed the mass-produced products began showing up in other terraces, all at cheaper prices. Blamco brand mac and cheese Cajun rice and beans cram. Danny Boy apples fancy lad snack cakes funnel cakes. Insta mash pork and beans potato crisps Salisbury steak. Sugar bombs yum yum devil eggs different flavors of Nuka-Cola. Different flavors of Vim Sunset Sarsaparilla instant noodles. Also new medicines like antibiotics and Stimpaks also began showing up in the markets and undercutting other businesses. Condor with the Cyclonias having gone quiet and are just hunkering down in the terrace that they control, there hasn't been that many missions that the Stormhawks have been doing. Giving them lots of downtime, as all Cyclonia actives have died down. The spies in Cyclonia territories have been reporting that the Cyclonias suddenly have several breakthroughs in technologies and seem to be just busy incorporating the new machines into their society. I can't believe this, Piper said as she's reading the latest news about how Cyclonia is cornering the market with a flood of goods. Cyclonia is flooding the market with all of those goods they're suddenly making. Piper put down the paper and saw her fellow Stormhawks at the dinner table, feasting on said food goods from Cyclonia. Arrow is eating cram that he has cut into slices and fried, drinking Nuka-Cola. Finn is eating Salisbury steak and drinking Vim. Junko is stuffing himself with boxes of sugar bombs. Stork is eating a bowl of Blamco brand mac and cheese. And Radar is eating potato crisps. They are cheap, Arrow said, and we are lacking funds, Stork said. Besides these bombs are great, Junko said. So are the drinks, Finn adds. Isn't anyone wondering how the Cyclonias suddenly have so much new stuff all of a sudden? They have robots now and new autoguns, Piper asked. Yeah, but it's not like we can just go in there and find out how they're doing it, Arrow said. I have something, Finn said showing 6 tickets. Got tickets for Ultimate Extreme Mighty Mega Warrior Championships that are being hosted in Cyclonia. We can watch the show and you can sneak around to look for clues. 1. Later the Stormhawks find out that the tickets were fakes while presenting them to the guard. To get in to watch the show, Finn disguises Junko as one of the colorful competitors, but things quickly get out of hand when Finn abuses a hypnosis crystal on Junko to make him fight, sending Junko into a berserker rage. Meanwhile, Piper sneaks around looking for clues while the royal family are watching the games. Arrow, there's robots everywhere, do not call me, Piper said over the radio as she has been sneaking around trying not to be spotted by the guards and robots. She has dressed up as a staff member but she doesn't want to chance the robots spotting her. Piper stoked as she spots a green-haired teen boy around her age, pushing a cart with fancy-looking food on it out of the kitchen. Drumsticks that have been fried, bowls of soap, loaves of bread, a jar of jam and bottles of wine and sodas. Piper narrowed her eyes as she saw that the jam is the expensive ancient fruit jam and the wine as well, all very expensive and hard to get. Meaning the ones being served that cart are either high up or the royal family. Piper followed the teen who wheeled the cart to the royal skybox, and while all eyes were on him she sneaked into the nearby office with the door left open. Finding it to be Queen Torrent's office, she went to work looking over the papers and finding documents of status projects that Master Cyclonus is doing in her new laboratory, and the new power source of something called electricity is going to be powering the terrace soon, once she has the new power grid installed that can use both crystal and electricity. She found blueprints of machines that she had no idea how they would work, like an auto dock, microwave, helicopters, floating fortresses, televisions, and computers. And the reports also mention someone named Izuku, helping Master Cyclonus out in her experiments. The door opened and Piper quickly hides as Master Cyclonus and the green-haired teen entered the office. You're just lucky that there's a shower in here, Master Cyclonus said. Sorry Lark, the boy said. Izuku, you had to only serve me a glass of soda and instead you sprayed me with it, Master Cyclonus said. Sorry Lark, Izuku said. Close the door, don't want anyone coming in. Use the new lock I installed, Master Cyclonus said. Why does the lock have to be unlocked from the inside? Izuku asked, closing the door and it locking behind him. So that if anyone sneaks in can be locked inside. Now undress me, Master Cyclonus said, entering the bathroom. Yes Lark, Izuku said, joining her in the bathroom. Piper, having gone into hiding in the laundry basket, took in all the information she overheard. Izuku is the boy with Master Cyclonus, who is allowed to call her Lark, a name that she used when she pretended to be someone else. Which could mean that Lark is her name, and Izuku is close enough to her where he can use her real name. And that he's also close enough where he can join Master Cyclonus in the bathroom and join her in the shower, after he undresses her. Oh no, Piper thought as she couldn't help but watch Izuku undress Lark and he undresses himself, revealing their naked bodies to her. Piper's face turned red as she watches at the sight of seeing her first naked boy, how slender and wiry Master Cyclonus is, and felt dread as Izuku picked up the clothes and headed for the laundry basket that she's hiding in. Present Izuku walks into the bathroom expecting Lark to be alone in the hot tub but froze as he sees that she's not alone in the hot tub. In the tub with Lark are the female ninjas who appeared in that video game, Homura, Yomi, Hikage, Mirai, Haruka, Miyabi, Murasaki, Imu, Ryobi, and Ryona. And all of them being naked, giving Izuku an eyeful of the busty bodies of most of the girls, with the slender bodies of Lark and Mirai being the less endowed. Mother was the one who hired them, to help me train for when we're married, Lark said. Trained? Izuku asked. By having sex with us and learning how to pleasure another girl, so that when she has fellow wives, she can show them the pecking order of who's the top wife, Haruka said, causing Izuku to blush. I'm going to make sure that the others know the ranking, Lark said. Hi Izuku, Piper said, coming out from the room that held the toilet, naked but for what looks like braces on her limbs and a chest harness with a green crystal that Izuku recognized as one that can restores anything like a sick person. Piper? Izuku said, shocked at seeing how pale and haggard she looks. Piper acquired the ability to infuse others with crystal powers like me. But unlike me, she's not attuned to it, and as you can see has taken a toll on her body. She's now serving me as a personal servant like you used to, in exchange for treatment, in exchange for the freedom of the other Stormhawks, Lark said. How did that happen? Izuku asked. After you left, Cyclonia dominated the economy of Atmos, forcing the other terrorists to submit to their rule. The Sky Knights tried to resist and we failed. I tried to empower the others by binding and it almost killed me. When I woke up, Master offered me a chance to free the others, if I would submit and serve her. She also told me that she's been working on her own portal machine to find you, and I took the deal and saw the others off, telling them that it's over and we lost. I was barely clinging to life at that point, even with the advanced medical aid you brought with you, Piper said. I told the Stormhawks that if they rebel again, I would just simply cut off the medical aid to Piper. They've been quite since, and Piper helped me in the portal machine, Lark said. How is Piper? Izuku asked. Better, she doesn't need an air tank or a wheelchair. When she's out she wears that modified trauma harness armor she wore in that video game, which is really her life support, Lark said. Master has been taking care of me, but I don't matter, you matter more. With you by Master's side, you can help Atmos stay good. Master's parents rule with an iron fist, but since they have taken over, our world has gotten better. We don't lack the resources we need anymore. I talk with the other and our friends and they agree that things are better, Piper said. She knows that fighting wouldn't work now, but if Izuku were to marry Master, he can lessen the harsh rule. You need medical aid, Izuku said, seeing how weak and sick Piper is compared when he last saw her. I already asked for help from the others, which is why Piper is here. The advanced medical science of Cleopatra's world should be able to help her, Lark said. Is there anything else? Izuku said, remembering Chloe. There is to be perfectly attuned, but it does require someone to bond with. Like me and you, Lark said. What? Izuku asked. Remember how I looked before and after you began serving me? Father told me that you just being around me has caused my attunement to advance faster than his own attunement, which took him years. Somehow your very presence around me allowed my body to adjust faster. Piper, on the other hand, just tried to brute force it and the energy all but destroyed her body, seeing how she tried to face me with no training and trying at full power, then doing it little by little, like me. Both father and my grandmother had slowly strengthened my body as I was growing up, exposing me to the crystal energies little by little. Piper on the other hand just drove head first into it, and as bad as she looks now, she was much worse, Lark explains. So if I stayed around Piper long enough she will get better? Izuku asked. That's my best guess, Lark said, and since you're here, you can stay over for tonight. Stay over? Izuku asked, not liking the looks the girls are giving him. Izuku, will you stay? Piper asked, pressing her naked body against his and looking hopeful at him. Later Izuku found himself pinned between Lark and Piper, who were pressing themselves on his sides as they slept in Lacquer's bed. The other girls are sleeping in the other beds in the bedroom with two of them, Yomi and Imu. Both of them are sleeping on the sides of Lark and Piper on the large bed. He is glad that all of them are in their night clothes and not naked, which Lark told him that she isn't that eager to have children yet as they still have some years to come of age. He also told his mother that he'd be spending the night with Lark and explained things to her. Looks like it's already working. I haven't seen Piper sleeping so peacefully, Lark said, looking at the sleeping face of Piper. In the game you and Piper are a dual boss, and if Piper is taken out before you, who go berserk. You must really care for her, Izuku said. I guess a bit, Lark said, being honest. What happened to the other Stormhawks? Izuku asked. I put their skills to good use. They're now working in the transportation department, Lark said. Condor Arrow sighed as he missed the days of being a Stormhawk, instead of working for the Cyclonias as freight haulers. Finn and Junko are loading the last of the pallets in the cargo bay. Stork and Radar are at the bridge, getting the ship ready to set sail, to deliver the food supplies to the depot. They all wanted to fight, but with Piper being in the hands of Master Cyclonus they couldn't. Piper was nearly dead, and the life support system that Master Cyclonus has her in is the only thing that's keeping her alive. Then there's the fact that under the rule of Cyclonia, things have gotten better for many. Schools, hospitals and transportation hubs have been built, improving the lives of people. Bringing in resources from different colonies from different worlds. Worlds where there are vast lands, water and nothing like the wastelands, from the videos and pictures they have seen. The other Sky Knights also seen how much better things are under Cyclonia rule and just stop fighting. The benefits of Cyclonia rule is just too good to return to the old ways. They live under an iron fist, but it works and many people now have a better standard of life. Piper keeps in contact with them and told them that Master Cyclonus has found Izuku. According to Piper, he's the reason why the Cyclonias went for a less violent conquest. And that she would be going to Izuku's world where she can see him again. She would also going to be treated to the medical technology of other worlds. Doing what she can to make Master Cyclonus less of a tyrant compared to her parents, who also are all for that, as it would make a more stable long-term rule for their family. I hope you get well, Piper, Arrow said to himself as he heads off to the bridge. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Now we will see you in the next video.